seats. Thank you, ma'am.
Mic off. Is the mic off?
Good afternoon. Administrator Bruzzo, whom will be presenting?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board of County Commissioners. It's my pleasure to present to you my first budget workshop. Sherry will lead it off.
Good. Thank you so much. Sherry Brown, Director of OFMB. We have David Behar from the County Attorney's Office and Lisa Master. I almost used the wrong last name there, Lisa, for some reason. Our Budget Director, and Alicia Diabro, our Assistant Budget Director. So we'll kick it off. I have nearly 70 slides. You know how much I love a big, fat presentation, lots of slides with about a 180-page budget package that can go along with it. I'll try to breeze through quite a few of the slides and spend a little bit more time on things that I think is of more interest. This is just our 7 strategic priorities. We discussed these back in February, and they have been the same for the last few years. Our calendar, today's workshop, then on July 1st, we will receive values that we will base our budget on from the property appraiser. And then on July 7th at the regular board meeting, I'll bring an item to the board so that we can set our not to exceed millage. And that is the rate that we can lower, but we can't go higher than that. And then we have our 2 public hearings in September. We did talk this morning about adding a capital workshop, so we'll get that on the calendar for us too. I have some capital slides, but I'll just highlight a couple of things and save the detail for when we meet again. Just for the public, I think everybody here has seen this slide quite a bit from me. What is a fund? It's a separate fiscal budgetary entity. Under Florida statutes, our revenues have to equal our expenditures. The general fund is what we typically spend the most time talking about. It funds all of our general services of the county, and it has the most flexibility. Our special revenue funds have to be used for a specific purpose for what those revenues are generated. Debt service, just to pay our debt service payments, capital, and then our enterprise funds, which is water, utilities, and airports. We have quite a few different funds, the 1 general fund, but 103 special revenue funds, 23 debt service funds, 61 capital funds, and then our enterprise and internal service funds. All these funds are detailed on pages 12 through 18 of the budget package if you want to see the individual funds, but these just highlight some of the main ones. So we'll get right into property values and our millage rates. So what are property taxes? It's the assessed value of property times our millage rate. It's the amount of money you get taxed based on the value of your home. It's your assessed value, which is less usually than your just value because of the various exemptions. And these taxes fund essential public services, education, first responders, parks, roads, community services, special districts. What is a millage rate? A mill is equal to 1 assessed dollar for each 1,000 of taxable value. So a property value at $250,000 pays about $250 per mill. At our current rate of 4.5 mills, that's equivalent to $1,125. Homestead property values, we have our Save Our Home cap, which is 3%, or CPI, which is whichever is less. And there's several other smaller exemptions. Homestead, of course, is one of our largest. Our non-homesteaded property is capped at 10% as far as an increase on an annual basis. The amendment that's going on the ballot will change that 10% to 5% going forward if it passes. So what is rollback rate? Because we've talked about rollback in the past. It's the rate that will generate the same amount of property tax as the prior year, excluding new construction. So in 2027, our rollback rate is estimated at 4.2859. We have on our slide, the teal houses are representing our existing values of $343 billion, which in 2026 was about $1.54 million. And the black houses represent new construction, which is about $5.3 billion. So and we just leave the formula there to show how it's the prior year tax rate to calculate it. So what it basically says is that you're going to live with the exact same budget as the prior year and only use your new construction for new items. So in the 2027 budget, that $5.3 billion would represent about $23 million of new value if you went to the, and I think our constitutional offices, their increase is about $100 million. So that just kind of gives you an idea of how tough it is to go to a rollback rate. So the state has something called a maximum millage rate. And the calculated rate for fiscal year 2027 right now is 4.4393, just slightly less than our current rate of 4.5. The formula looks at last year taxes plus a rollback rate increase for Florida personal income. And so the 4.4393 is what we're presenting our budget at now. That is the maximum rate that requires a simple majority vote. Anything above that would be, did I say supermajority or simple majority? It's simple majority. And then anything over the 443 would require a supermajority vote. So to leave it at our current rate of 4.5 would require 5 votes to set that rate. Okay. And going, one of the other things in the amendment that will go for the ballot is it changes how we calculate the maximum millage rate. So if it goes forward, the change would be that we would just look at the rollback rate would be the simple majority vote, and then anything above rollback up to 110% would require a supermajority vote. So there is a little bit of change for that too. You know, our county taxing districts, we have our countywide millage rate. The maximum millage rate for 2027 is 4.4393. Our countywide fire rescue is in its own MSTU. The rate has been this for 15 years, I think, 3.4581. That does require 2/3 or a supermajority vote. We have our countywide voted debt, which is 0.0211. It's slightly less than the current year because we just have the one housing bond. At some point, we'll issue the rest of the housing bond. And then libraries, the rollback rate for libraries is 0.5236, but their current rate is 0.5491. We probably would want to consider leaving it at the current rate, only because of the property tax amendment out there. It might make it harder to increase it if we needed to in the future. So we added, this is a slide I don't think we've presented in the past. We wanted to look at what does your bill look like for your unincorporated home. So we looked at the median home of a taxable value of $339,000 house. You know, we have our fire rescue, our library operating if you're an unincorporated, Children's Services Council, the county debt, county operating, and then there's several special districts, the Everglades Construction, Find, Healthcare District, South Florida Water Management District, and then our school board has 2 millage rates. So the county makes up about 51% of your tax bill when you look at the total taxes there, and the school makes up about 40, almost 41% of this for the unincorporated. Now, of course, if you live in an incorporated city, there's an additional rate for the cities that can be anywhere from 1.82 mils up to 9.9. Some of them have their own fire department, some of them have their own library, so it can vary between city to city. Our overall proposed taxes for 2027 is about $2.2 billion. Of course, the general fund is the largest portion at $1.6 billion, and that's based on the maximum millage rate of 4.4393 mils. If we increased it to 4.5 mils, which is the current rate, it would generate about another $22.2 million. Fire rescue is about 511 in property taxes. Library is about 100 million, and then our voted debt is about 7.7 million. So our total ad valorem taxes, the top line in the green bar, in 2026, based on the 4.5 mils, we have about 1.5 billion in the general fund. For 2027, the proposed is 1.6, so that gives us an additional $80 million in taxes. The countywide voted debt dropped slightly because we paid off our waterfront access parks bond this year. So we just have the one housing bond going forward. And then we also detail out a slight increase with our library, our fire rescue, and then we included Jupiter Fire MSTU just as a reminder that's going away from the county. So we won't be assessing a millage rate there. Just kind of a little bit of a history of our property taxes over this last several years. We're currently at $365.7 billion, and that generates about $1.6 billion in the general fund. And then we have our history of changes in property values and our millage rate. The green line represents our millage rate, and so for 2027, proposed at the 4.4393, and then our percentage increase or decline in some of prior years and things. So we have about a 6.5% increase in values over between 2026 and 2027. It's just kind of showing that we're still increasing, but it's not increasing in double digits. It's starting to kind of level off. And what does a median assessed value home of $230,000 look like? The current homestead exemption would be $51,000 for 11, leaving a taxable value of $178,000. Based on our current millage rate of 4.5 going to 4.43, just a slight decrease there. Our voted debt service drops slightly too, for a total of 4.46. So this home would see an increase in taxes of $11 for the total year. You want,
Commissioner, did you want to speak?
I'm sorry, can you, I just want to go back to that $11 increase.
Right.
A little too quick for me, so I was trying to catch up.
So the property values for a homesteaded property would increase 2.7 is the maximum increase for under Saver Homes. So CPI right now is at 2.7, so it's slightly less than the 3%. And so you would see just the slight increase of the home value of $6,000. And then the homestead exemption, there was an amendment to change that, so it increases annually also for CPI. So that's why you see a slight $689 increase in the homestead exemption from 2026 to 2027, and then dropping the millage rates. But because the values increased slightly for, at the 2.7%, that's why there's just a slight increase for this home of $11.
Okay, I got it.
Got it.
Thank you.
We tried to include just some other property value homes. If they were homesteaded, what does their taxes look if it's $390,000 home, $500,000 or $1 million? So the $1 million home would see about a $58 increase a year, or 1.4%. Our total values, our just values, which is closer to market, is $548 billion. Our homestead cap of 3%, this is our Save Our Homes cap, is about $105 million. The non-homesteaded, $105 billion. And the non-homesteaded cap at the 10% is about $21 billion. Other various. So our total assessed value is $412.9 billion. So it's about 75% of the just value. And then the various homestead exemptions and other exemptions total $47.1 billion, bringing us to our current taxable values of $365.7. So we're about 66.6%, or 2/3 of just value, because of the various exemptions and caps. So we picked a random, maybe Lisa at the table's home, and this home was purchased back in 2020, so of course the prior owner had a homestead exemption, so it was capped at the not to exceed 3%, but the increases, in 2019, 2020, 2021 were about 2%. So when Lisa bought the house, in 2022, that's when the recapture of the homestead, and it gets reassessed to current market value. So it went from an assessed value of $165,000 to $304,000, less the exemption of $50,000 to a $254,000 taxable value. Saying all this, with our millage rate has dropped twice since that time, and even proposing a third drop for 2027, her taxes since 2022 have increased 9.5%, but during that same time, her homeowner's insurance has increased 75%. So we wanted to just kind of talk a little bit about, I think that's what a lot of homeowners are seeing, is higher increases in their homeowner's insurance. All right, we'll move on to some of our assumptions in the 2027 budget. So our current...
Sherry, one sec. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Sherry, what you just said was really important, because what's happening is if people are escrowing their principal, their insurance, and their taxes, they're seeing an increase, but the majority of that increase is from their property insurance.
Correct.
Not from their property taxes. And again, I keep saying that we're under attack with the property taxes, which are a write-off, a deduction on our income taxes. But my homeowner's insurance is escalating, and there's no cap on the escalation.
Right.
And there's nothing I can do with that. And that's a complete and total, I'm sending them $12,000 a year. In 10 years, I've sent them $120,000, and I've gotten zero for it and no services. So I'm happy to pay my $6,000 a year or $7,000, whatever it is, in my property taxes, because I know I'm getting parks and roads and beaches and infrastructure. So I'm going to hammer this home, as long as people are listening, that really look at what your bill is and notice where the increases are, because on mine, the increase was my property insurance, not my property taxes.
Commissioner, we have, by many metrics, the highest rate of homeowners insurance in the United States of America. And as Sherry just said, compared to the under 10% increases in property taxes, homeowners insurance, so we just say it again, has gone up 75% in that
Correct.
same time frame.
So I'm just going to keep saying it.
Well, we think it's important too, because that's what, us at the table, we live here in Palm Beach County, we own property, and this is what we see too. And because of the homestead, the Save Our Homes cap with a 3% increase in your value, it saves on that from that standpoint.
Because most of the time when people get their notice, their trim notice in the mail, they look at it, they really don't pay much attention. It's when they get the notice from the bank, and that shows that taxes are this amount, but their insurance has gone up, and there is no cap on the amount of money your insurance is going up. So I want folks to know that when you see a change in your monthly mortgage payment, please make sure you understand where that change came from, because it's a tiny bit of it might have been a change from your property taxes, but the most change is going to be from your insurance.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to some of the assumptions in there. Again, the countywide budget is unbalanced at this time. Our maximum millage rate is the 4.43, which requires a simple majority vote of the board. We're out of balance about $42.4 million. We'll get in a little bit more detail later about that. The proposed rate will generate about $1.62 billion, a 5.2 increase, or $80.3 million. We've included an across-the-board 3% pay increase for our BCC departments. Also, we've included a merit increase that will occur on review dates for your anniversary date. That impact is about $15 million. We went back and asked our departments. We knew there were vacancies, that we don't spend 100% of our budget. Our departments have cut $22.2 million and eliminated 19 vacant positions. In addition to that, we went back and decreased another 13.1 for a total of 35.3 million. It's probably the largest decrease we've seen in my time at the county. So, yeah.
Madam Mayor.
You may.
Thank you. I have to thank all the department directors, DCAs, of course, our incredible staff up here at the table. We worked very hard to have that largest decrease. The state has said some things that are just not true. This just cements that we are fiscally responsible, put our house in order. We do not see great reductions to services in these cuts to our departments. These are your departments. So we are making arguably the largest cut potentially in history to the BCC departments and operating funds. But I can tell you, we feel comfortable running the government with these cuts. We don't believe it will throw any types of services out of whack, and we will be, in my estimation, extremely fiscally responsible. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you for your hard work. Sherry, please proceed.
Thank you. We also have some revenue enhancements of $10.2 million that we've included in here. There was some supplemental funding, primarily when you look at the 140 position, it's 129 in fire rescue, and that was to complete the new schedule changes, which we had planned out over the last couple of years. Our capital funding remains flat at $124 million. Capital has always been a priority for us, so we've kept that in there. We also annually budget $3.6 million for Palm Tran vehicle replacement, and that's still in the budget at this point. Our constitutional officers, our sheriff increased the the net budget increase is $93.2 million with an additional 27 positions. The clerk's budget increased about $3.9 million. 2.7 of that is a change with the court IT funds under Article 5, which we haven't funded in the past, but we are now. The property...
By law.
By law, yep. Article 5, it's my favorite. Yeah, unfunded mandates, love them. So property appraiser, the net increase budget there is $1.2 million, and our judicial increase 1.7. Again, some of that is the Article 5 requirements with their IT funded positions. So the total on this page is $100 million. So when we look at our general fund, our revenues right now are about 2.553. Our expenses are about 2.595. So we're out of balance about $42 million. If the millage remains at the 4.5, it would generate another $22.2 million, and we'd be out of balance about $20 million. On the expenditure side, of course, you know, the constitutional offices make up about 50.3% of the budget. Our BCC departments are about $577 million, or 22%. Then we have our capital, our reserves. Our CRAs are almost $90 million now, and then our debt service. So we wanted to kind of show what our budget reductions were. This is the reductions that we've, were 22.2 million in the base reductions, and some of these are included here with some of the eliminations. Probably a couple of the largest ones are in housing and demucking funds of 7.5 and 1.5. However, we still have $43 million in HIP today. We have another $4 million in demucking. We have other grants and ARPA. We have our bond funds that we haven't spent. So we felt like we could take this decrease here because we do have funding available for housing. We still have money in surtax. And then you can see some of the other various throughout all the departments. And the total, again, is the 35.3 million. We have a few revenue enhancements that we've included. One, to help balance the budget, we brought back the beach parking, which is almost $9 million. That if we added it to the remaining 14 beaches, then it would generate about $8.8 million. Animal care and control has some very minor revenue increases for tags and citations. And then under our community-based agency, Children's Services Council is giving us $1.1 million to help fund some of those projects. And so we have a total of new revenue sources of almost $10.2 million. On slide 29 is some of our supplemental additions. There's 11 positions. 10 are in the BCC, but 5 of them were for ocean rescue lifeguards. Out of the $7 million, a little over $5 million is our courts and constitutional offices for the Article 5 that we've talked about earlier, and some very minor things throughout departments that we have added to the budget for various reasons. So our sheriff's budget has increased. His proposed budget is 8.66% higher than his current year budget. If we lower it $42.4 million, which is what we're out of balance, it would still be almost a 5% increase over the current year. And that would get us to the current millage rate of 4.4393. We did a couple of other scenarios if his increase was 3%, or if no increase at all. If we kept his budget increase to 3%, we would see a $61.6 million drop. And then, of course, keeping it flat would drop his expenses to by $94 million. Mm-hmm.
You may.
Sorry. Am I understanding correctly? That the millage would drop from 4.4393 to 4.973?
4.2.
If you kept the...
If you kept his budget flat with 2026, which would mean taking
no
$94 million
increase.
off of no increase at all, then it would be equivalent to his increase. His $94 million increase is equivalent to about 0.1420 mils.
So the increase that the sheriff requested was what, 94?
Is $94 million.
Got it.
It's about 8.66% over his current year budget.
Thank you.
So there has been some interest over the years about creating a law enforcement MSTU. It's a mechanism to fund a particular service from ad valorem taxes. The PBSO budget has 3 major priorities: law enforcement, county functions, which is the jail and court services, and then he has municipal private contracts that has its own funding source to fund those expenses. So an MSTU to fund law enforcement for the unincorporated county, it would have to be created by January 1 to be able to levy taxes. So if we passed an ordinance before December 31st of this year, in fiscal year 2028, we could levy a millage rate at that time. To pass an ordinance would be just a normal 4-vote, simple majority vote. To set a millage rate in 2028, since there had never been a millage rate for this particular type of a special district, it would require a unanimous vote of the board to set the millage rate. The maximum millage rate allowed under the county for MSTUs is 10 mills. And we currently have 3.4581 for our fire rescue department. So the new MSTU could only be for 6.5419, and that would be for the unincorporated areas for the law enforcement piece.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a question for clarification on this. Of the MSTU, the sheriff's budget would have to be somewhat segmented because there's parts of it that are countywide, like corrections.
Like the jail
the court.
and the courts, there's, those pieces would have to remain in the general fund because it's a county-wide type of a service and it's benefits all the whole county.
Are school crossing guards in?
School crossing guards are really only for the unincorporated area. I'm not sure if they fall under his budget proposal of law enforcement or if they're under one of the other categories. but
Why
we'd
wouldn't
have
that be the school district?
Well, I think it's under Florida statute, but I'll look and see if my attorneys have any idea if they know.
I think it would be
But I know,
because-
like school, I mean, cities pay for
traffic.
their own, so.
Well, they have a school police. I mean, they do have a law enforcement, don't they? I don't know.
I've never thought of it. I just always have seen it with police departments and sheriff's offices, so, but.
Could look into that. But it's just so if, for this discussion, there would be, part of the budget would be countywide, part of it would be for those areas. And so if there was an MSTU, the cities right now that contract with the sheriff, would they just become part of that MSTU as well?
They could still have their own contracts like they do, and they don't have to join the MSTU. So they already have a contract, so those revenues would just continue to live with the sheriff
Okay, thank
for
you.
those services.
Are school police allowed to enforce traffic? Because we had this issue outside of a few schools in my district.
I have no idea, but, I mean,
Well, Pat or Tom, when you get an answer, would you please come to the podium? Thank you. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sherry, so you said that the jail and the court functions would not be under an MSTU. That would still be something that would be broken out and under the county's budget. So it actually, does it get removed from the sheriff's budget and comes to the county?
So we would think of the sheriff as two pieces. So there is the general fund piece that funds the county-wide functions like the jail, the courts, the crime lab, those are used by all, whether you have a city police department or the sheriff, those are county-wide functions. And then the law enforcement piece, the school crossing guards for unincorporated area, those are all, could be under an MSTU, and those would be funded only from the unincorporated areas.
And if there was an MSTU in place today, what would that millage rate be?
So we would go to the full 10 mills, where 6.5 would go to law enforcement and the 3.4 that we currently have for fire rescue would stay with fire rescue. And do you want to know how much it generates, the 6.5? Okay, so the 6.5 based on the 2027 estimated values would generate about $675 million. However, the sheriff's proposed budget has his law enforcement, I think, at about $752 million. So it doesn't completely fund his current ask. So there would be a difference of about $76 million.
Wow. Thank you.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
I just had the same question. So.
As part of that difference in the request, how does that compare to what they receive in contracts from we have 39 municipalities?
I think their contract budget is about $98 million. And so they get a revenue and expense because those contracts cover the expenses for those cities. So it's kind of a net zero for the overall budget.
And they can, Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
I'm sorry, just to piggyback, what would that do to our millage, countywide millage? Because we still would have to have
Yeah.
the corrections.
We
and-
could probably lower our millage. Yeah, it's always hard to do all these little calculations, but I would think we would lower our millage about 2 mills.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
To 2.5, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Sherry, the $72 million that you said would be a shortfall if the sheriff had his own MSTU, is that a shortfall based on what the sheriff is currently asking for, or a shortfall based on what the previous budget is?
It's based on his current ask for 2027.
Okay. And then we're talking about if, I think the situation was, if there are other contracts, if we were able to reduce our millage and the sheriff has a different MSTU, what does that do to property owners, or what does that do to property taxes? Does that keep it flat, or we see we see the sheriff have an increase, but if we were to do a decrease, would that make everybody even, or do they ultimately see an increase?
So for your county-wide would drop, but the unincorporated would increase. So they would see, your unincorporated properties would see an increase of about 4 mills. We'll just go 6.5 to 2.5, that type of difference and stuff. So it would be an increase to the unincorporated, but on the county-wide millage rate, it would be a drop.
So this would, I'm sorry, follow up? Mm-hmm. So that'd be only for the unincorporated?
Correct.
Currently, with the sheriff being rolled into our budget, everyone pays that, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So talking from a city standpoint, cities then pay county millage, correct? Mm-hmm. And then they have to go to their cities and pay for their law enforcement. Is that correct?
You're talking about a city that has their own police
Let's use Green
department?
Acres, my old stomping grounds.
Do they have their own police department, or are they under a contract?
They use PBSO. So they're paying county millage, then they're paying city millage, and then the city pays PBSO contract. So now they're basically,
No, they're going to still pay their contract out of their city millage. They would just see a drop in the
no,
county millage.
I understand.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
just setting where things are today.
Correct.
They are paying county, but they're not getting PBSO services. They have a contract with PBSO, which is in addition to.
Right.
I'm just clarifying that so that everybody at home understands that even though a municipality pays county taxes, they still have to contract
Correct.
with a police department, whether they have their own and pay for it out of their own budget, or contract with PBSO. So they're essentially paying county and not getting services for PBSO unless they hire and
They-
pay additionally.
But they still, whether they have their own police department or under contract, they use court services, they use jails, they use a lot of the other services, and there is backup,
Right, they're using some, but not all.
not some, correct.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
You made that point perfectly, so I appreciate it. Because people don't realize we don't have city jails anymore. I don't think we ever had it in Palm Beach. But we have a county jail, and it's expensive. But it's a burden that we all share, and I'm glad that you differentiated that for the commissioner.
Right,
So I
thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just because this is new for us to discuss, but we have like a library MSTU, that some cities don't do a library system. They're in our library MSTU. So why wouldn't this be the same thing if we were going to set it up?
Right, so the library is considered a dependent district, so their millage rate of 0.54 is added to our 4.5. So as a county government, we get two 10 mil caps. So we get it for our general fund plus our dependent district like the library. And then we get a second 10 mils for municipal services, which can be used for police, fire, and some various items like that.
So after this, if this were to pass, it says here that the BCC would set the millage rate for the first one. Would we have to continue to set the millage moving forward?
Correct, yeah, it's a county millage rate, it's a county MSTU, it's our special district, just like fire rescue. We would just be using a portion of it for law enforcement.
So the two then, those two can together get to 10. So we're
Correct.
basically slicing up the pie on who gets what out of that 10.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sherry, so currently, and this is something that a lot of our taxpayers don't realize, they are paying for PBSO services that are not policing services, as you said, the jail, court services. And what other services might those be?
The crime lab, the jail is the biggest piece, court services. I mean, he has helicopters, and I'm doubting most cities have helicopters. So, he provides other law enforcement services throughout the county and provides backup if there's a need in a city that needs his services. So there are other services. To what extent, I don't know, but yes.
And if we went to an MSTU, those services would still happen. They would remain under the millage rate of the county.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always going to be a county district. It's our district. We would always set the millage rate for it. It would be a dedicated funding source for law enforcement.
Okay. And if we do that, though, if we separate that out and the MSTU, the sheriff has an MSTU, and then the jail and the court services come to the county, who's actually running that service? Who's actually running the jail?
Well, the sheriff would still run the jail.
So we would be
currently
paying
has
him.
it.
We
Yeah.
would be paying him separately.
Right.
It would almost be like an
exactly what we're
invoice for
doing today,
services.
other than pulling law enforcement into a separate fund. Right.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. We have a lot of law enforcement. We have city police, we have highway patrol, FDLE. Now we have other police forces as well. We have court services, police. At some point, maybe, perhaps, we could get, so everyone would understand how much police that the state has and the levels. Maybe you could underscore the different FDLE, highway patrol, state police, sheriff's office, city police, and what their functions are. I could help you with that if necessary, but
I'm thinking that's a good idea for Tom Nadler.
I thought he was sitting over here. And we have Tom Nadler. That's a police force in itself.
But he and I would love to have a project together, so,
Oh, I
yeah.
bet. Okay, that way everybody understands
I know,
that.
right?
We have a little more than just two.
Yeah.
And us, we in unincorporated, we have one. But we also have the other highway patrol and everything like
Right,
that.
correct.
So whatever way you expect, I think it would just be good education.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll keep moving along. Or you
Real
wanna
quick,
have-
I have a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
The MSTU that's being, if we went that way, and you're saying that we went to the 6.5419, that makes up what fire rescue doesn't use.
Correct,
Now, fire rescue has their own MSTU in individual cities, right?
correct.
Is that going to happen, something similar?
It would be up to a city whether they would want to join a law enforcement MSTU or not, but at 6.5, it might be prohibitive for most cities because they only get 10 mills. So, you know, if a city today has their own operating and they're in the fire rescue MSTU, they have to add those together to be under 10 mil cap. So a city only gets the 110 mil cap. And so to join a law enforcement, if they wanted to be in both, they would already be at 10 mils. They couldn't have a millage rate at their city level.
But even if we did go to an MSTU, it would only be for unincorporated?
Correct, because the law enforcement piece is for unincorporated.
And how many residents do we have in unincorporated versus incorporated? It's about 45%.
Okay.
Thank you. You can proceed, Sherry.
Thank you. So we have several other major revenues in our budget, about $311.6 million. Most of it, you know, we have our state shared revenue, half-cent sales tax, franchise fees, utility tax, communication service tax, those type of things. We look at it on a monthly basis to see how we're trending. We think overall we're seeing a tick up in communication service tax, so almost 14% there. I think it's my streaming services, and at home I might need to cancel a couple there. And then, of course, our gas tax down below, which is slightly less than our current budget. But overall, we look at those, and those, we talked about those in February, that those are all at the maximum rate that we could do. Go on to their next slide. This is just ad valorem funding highlights. It's not meant to be a full, it doesn't include all of the staffing time of our 7 strategic priorities. Housing development, in the past, we've always had our HIP dollars and demucking dollars there, but our proposed budget does not fund those in 2027. But again, there's still $43 million in HIP funds today. There's still $4 million demucking, and there's funds in ARPA, our bonds, various grants, and our surtax.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you. The current budget won't, the next budget won't fund HIP. What happens to the match program that we just talked about? Because those funds are in a different pot, right?
Did we use HIP for?
In fee and lieu.
Or in lieu.
We still have HIP that's not allocated yet, so we would still be able to do a match program for it. And we could look at our surtax dollars. We have some dollars there that we could look at how to allocate those.
Thanks.
Pat, did you have an update for us?
I do, Mayor, and just to address Commissioner Powell's point, we use the in lieu fees, a portion of it, so there's still a portion of the in lieu fees available that we're holding. If you might remember when we had that discussion, HED, we try to keep a lot of that set aside as well for home buyer assistance. So close the loop on that one. Going back to statute on the school crossing guards, those would be at the choice of the local government is what statute calls for. So it's not a mandate to a sheriff. We're looking at a variety of local governments. Typically, it's done through their law enforcement, whether at the city level, through their police departments. Typically, counties do it that way, but it's not a requirement.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Hey, sure. Can you go back a slide? All right. So after reviewing this entire 50-page presentation that
You
you
love
put
'em.
together. I love them. Yeah, yes. My favorite. Love going home and reading this stuff. This page is the one that stood out the most to me. You want to take a wild guess why? The graphics. Yes, the graphics. But it's a zero.
The zero.
It's a zero.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put this in context. Simple mind thinks simply, right? So that's how my mind thinks. We're investing, or what we're saying is we're not going to invest any dollars in housing development other than what we get from the federal program.
And this slide, just let me preface, is for ad valorem funding only.
I understand.
Okay.
Right. So it's the investment that we are making because it's our money. We're saying we're going to invest $0 into one of this county's priorities, and it's been this county's priority for a long time. We went out, we asked for a bond to make sure that we got $200 million to try to get people into affordable place to live. But those funding is almost dried up. I think we're about to use the 160, and then we allocated 40 to try to get people into permanent housing, right? So that's sort of what the game plan is there. And we're not talking about federal dollars, we're just talking about ad valorem. But yeah, when you look at this, we don't want to, I don't want to say we don't want to, because I definitely do, but we're not making an investment in keeping homes affordable or getting people affordable places to live, but yet we're allocating dollars to the tune of $14 million animal care and control. We are allocating almost $18 million to the unsheltered, which, by the way, is a smaller population than your average worker in the community. So this right here doesn't sit well with me, and I just want to voice that out. And that zero kind of like, it kind of hit home. I'm like, wow, we're making some cuts, and unfortunately not in the place that I wanted to. And in my opinion, I feel like we have to help your average worker, the person that works 1, 2, maybe even 3 jobs, to be able to have a roof over their head. Because whether we, at the end of the day, these are like our line workers. These are the people that are serving our food. These are the people that do the everyday stuff. And yet what we've seen in this county is that, it's hard to find a good place to live. And we have all of these programs, and we're giving people funding, but yet what we're saying is we're not going to invest in that. So I know this is kind of where we're at today. Right. I just wanted to put that out there. I don't need an answer, because I don't know that we have an answer, but that zero to me did not feel right.
And, because we're always thinking general fund, that's our ad valorem funding, but we still have about $110 million available to us in our GO bond that we haven't issued yet. So we will be seeing that issued in the next, I don't know if it'll happen for 2027, but for fiscal year 2028, I think.
And
so.
Sherry, real quick on that point, I think animals are very important. And I don't think this zero says that we don't find housing development important. I just think we have so many other sources that are funding, to your point,
Correct.
into a housing development program. And just going over them, how much is left of the bond to go towards housing?
$110 million.
So $110 million right off the top. So this zero is just saying ad valorem isn't going to
For
that.
the general fund portion,
And then
yep.
what are the other funding sources?
We have funds left in surtax, some of the ARPA replacement funds.
Do we have any of those numbers, or would you have rough ideas? Is Jonathan Brown in the house?
Mayor, while Jonathan comes up to the front, I do want to bring up one other unintended consequence potentially from the property tax initiative by the governor. One thing that you will be asked if this passes as a board in approving affordable housing projects or workforce housing, we may not get any tax dollars from those developments, which means all the impact falls on us without any way to fund those impacts. So that is another unintended consequence, Commissioner, as we talk about affordable housing moving forward.
Thank you. Jonathan, would you be able to shed some light on the funding sources we have for housing?
Yes, we've had this conversation with OFMB, and what we were able to do was identify the additional ARPA dollars that we have available, the additional infrastructure surtax dollars that we have available as well. And we've used that as part of the conversation that we'll be bringing to the board on July 11th regarding the next housing bond projects. And we roughly anticipate that we'll be able to go into next fiscal year with the 40 million in bonds that Commissioner Flores mentioned for sale, and at least another 20 million to address any rental housing projects that may come.
So that's another 60 million.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for that information. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you. And Jonathan, you can come on up back. You get some exercise today, Mr. Brown. It's because of you and your team that we've had not to dip into ad valorem for these issues, because and this has a double star, and it says includes funding from other sources. Thanks to you and our state and federal partners, that we have grants and bonds that we're able to finance these housing projects. Also to our developers who put aside some of the monies for us to use for workforce housing in other areas. So thank you, Mr. Brown, for what you do. I like to see that zero there. But maybe you could, this is educational, maybe you could inform all of us in an email all the sources of funding that comes that helps to make Palm Beach County a home for so many persons who can't afford it. Appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And Commissioner, if I can add, it's really because of this board. One of the things that we do in housing and economic development is loans and not grants. So we continue to generate monies coming back in. So when you don't see us making a hard push on ad valorem, it's because of the loans that are coming in that we're able to use and recycle to do things like the Senator McManard building, or if we're able to contribute to other types of projects. It's those dollars that come back in because we provide loans, whether they're low interest loans or no interest loans. We're providing loans that bring your monies back into your community.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you for that, Madam Mayor, and thank you, Mr. Brown. I know we had talked about the $110 million that's still left in the housing bond, and that's getting ready to be allocated pretty soon, correct?
Yes, sir. July 11th, we'll be bringing recommendations to the board.
Okay.
July 7th, I'm sorry.
Okay, and I know I just did want to add to the fact that kind of like Senator Commissioner Flores, that number did stand out, the zero when it comes to housing. As we continue to dig into this property tax conversation, one of the comments I made when we were in Tallahassee, myself and the administrator, the sponsor of that legislation that passed in special session stood up to the podium, and this is just educational, and he indicated that when people are campaigning, the only thing he's hearing about, one and two, the top two things are, he said, and the top two is property taxes. And then he also talked about Palm Beach County, more so Miami-Dade. But the idea in Palm Beach County, the top thing that I'm not hearing about, the top two, and I made sure to put this on the record, were not property tax. The top two that we were hearing about in Palm Beach County were housing costs, period, people being able to afford rent or a mortgage or a purchase of a home, and traffic. Of course, a couple years ago, now followed by property insurance. But this number, although I know we have other pots, it did, like Commissioner Flores, it did stand out to me as well. So I'm glad that we'll continue to put an emphasis on this, because when I talk to people in my district, the number one thing people are looking for assistance with is housing, whether it be renting or purchasing. More so, I would like, and we as a board have talked about more purchasing, but people are really hurting right now. And I don't think, back on this conversation about property taxes, the property taxes, although, it's a conversation, the people who I'm dealing with, they're not hurting because of property taxes. Thank you.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you, Sherry. Historically, and I understand it actually says a lot for our departments that we've been able to fund this without ad valorem tax dollars. Historically, as we have zero here, what has it been in the past?
So in the current 2026 budget, we funded $7.5 million for the HIP program and $1.5 million for demucking. The year before that, I think it was 10 and 3, or 15 million and 3. So we've put a lot of money in over probably
Were
the
those
last
ad
5
valorem
years.
dollars?
These are all ad valorem dollars. And that was the reason why we eliminated this year, because we have so much still carrying forward for the program and these other funds.
Okay, thank you.
But we did, yeah.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, and I appreciate this conversation on housing development, but there's also another piece that's missing. We have inclusionary zoning here. We require a contribution when anybody's building more than 10 units in Palm Beach County and unincorporated. They have to contribute. And typically it's done in units, not in dollars, which is actually even better. But you don't account for any of that. It needs to be accounted for. The public needs to understand that we are deriving value in housing for them based on, actually on quite frankly, it's going on the backs of other, either if it's being rental properties that they're developing, they're going to be contributing from there, or if it's in for sale, they're going to be contributing on the cost of those units as well. So there's a lot more that goes into housing development than simply ad valorem dollars. And I think it's important that we get a full picture. So I'd ask that you all put together an analysis and share it, because I think it's important for the public to know as well as for us.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to say I'm glad we're having this discussion. It's interesting because you get two sides of this from speaking to the public about where their tax dollars go. And there is some heartburn out there when people hear my tax dollars are going to help some other person get into a home and I feel like I can't afford it. Like, this is some of the stuff that we hear. But what you're showing us is our departments have done a pretty good job finding alternative sources, or we've saved up before and we have a pot. So it's not that we don't have it, but always looking for another source that's not property tax. So we were almost a little ahead of the game when it comes to trying to get less property taxes to pay for things that are deemed not a core service, which is going to be part of a future conversation if this were to pass. I don't know that housing is considered a core service, according to other people. But anyways, any of these departments could start lowering where we have to pull ad valorem funding, not because we're not spending the money or supporting these departments or these programs, but because we found a different way to get it. I would just encourage more of that. So I think there's two ways to look at this. And any departments that can bring us lower numbers because they found a different source, I would just like to say thank you and keep working on that.
Thank you. Sherry, how much money do we have left over of the demucking dollars that will be moving forward?
4 million.
So even though we're not adding that extra 1.5, we still have 4 million
yeah.
in demucking dollars. I just wanted to confirm that for anyone who was listening. And then also, how much do we have left in the other?
The HIP.
The HIP, correct.
The Housing Initiative Program is 43 million.
All right, so we have 43 million still in there. That answers that. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you would please continue.
Okay. All right, here's our general fund expense history. Our BCC departments, we look at some actual expenses over the year. Take you all the way to the far right on the first line. Our BCC departments are still down 1%. That's the $35.3 million worth of cuts, but there were some additions for salaries and other various items. And we detail out the sheriff's. This is the gross expenses. This doesn't the net of his revenues that increases the 99.1. Other constitutionals, our debt service dropped just slightly, $3.4 million. Our CRAs, we're estimating them to increase about 5.6. They're almost $90 million now. So Did I make that face out loud? Capital, again, we wanted to keep it flat, so we still want to try to fund our capital. And then we have our non-departmental, which is, funding that we do for healthcare district, the health department, Tri-Rail, general government, FAAs, there's a whole list of them. And those are slightly less there also. And there's a detail of each department on page 134 of your package. Oh, I went too fast. Yeah. So,
Madam Mayor, Board, I think this is a extremely important slide, and I'm going to call it like it is. When the state hit us with that $344 million number, what they were really talking about was BCC departments from the CFO. If you look at this slide, the lowest line of the increases, and now you see a decrease with the 35 million we are reducing in county departments, is the lowest line on the slide. When we were hit with that number, they were really talking about a pot of $609 million, which would, in this number, it's now reduced to $577 million. So a $344 million reduction would be to operate all our BCC departments at a rate of $233 million. Impossible. But this shows everyone in the public the fiscal responsibility of this board have kept the BCC departments rising at the lowest rate of any taxing district in the county, and we are the only ones that are now having a reduction on this chart. Thank you, Madam Mayor and Board.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
I think this is a significant notation, and I'm glad you mentioned it, County Administrator, because I was getting the greens mixed up. But you're absolutely correct. When people talk to us at meetings and things, yes, they do complain about cost of living, cost of gas, traffic. They also complain about the cost of government. And what they want is an efficient government. And I think what you've done and your team has done is really same services, but more efficient in bringing those services to the people. So this is notable, and at some point, Mr. Oddie, we may want to point to this as showing that we use our taxpayers' money to the best of our ability as a government. I'm real proud of that. Thank you, County Administrator, and your team.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Since you brought up the CFO, did we ever get a DOGE report? They were here in August of last year. Did we ever get a report? We did?
We did receive a DOGE report. There was very limited information in the DOGE report, which was not actually compiled by the CFO. What we did not receive, I submitted several public record requests to the CFO asking how he got to that $344 million number of fraudulent or wasteful activity. He has not complied all these months to several public record requests by law, submitting to us how he came up with the numbers, formulas, any information, any working documents. So we have nothing to be based on. And again, I offered also to him personally to sit down so he can learn how our budget works and how our BCC departments in this very, or out of that 609 million, how we actually function and operate, and he has not acknowledged that.
And so from DOGE, we got minimal at best.
Yes.
And how many hours of our staff time did we spend on that?
Actually, we have the exact number. I will get that to you.
That's fine. I mean,
it's
it was an
calculated.
expenditure of time and money for us to fill that out, correct?
Millions of dollars, Commissioner.
Okay. And of which we haven't gotten anything really tangible back from them.
Not in my opinion, no.
Okay. And then we've gotten nothing from the CFO.
Zero.
So our budget is based on the efficiencies that we have had from past years. I mean, I don't know how we're supposed to run government. And you're doing a wonderful job of trying to cut the budget now. I know you've looked at jobs that have been vacant, programming. We're looking at fees. We can never be a fee-based government because that's not something that you can budget. And also, how would that affect our bond rating if we were a fee-based budget as opposed to a tax collecting budget? So these are just some questions and some thoughts. So I don't think there's a need for an answer. I think I was just sort of putting it out there. But again, Doge didn't give us anything to work from.
No.
And nor did the CFO. So we're doing our best to work with the dollars that we have with all of your hard work from the budget department. So thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Administrator, I have a quick question. So is it your professional opinion that the CFO made up that number?
Without any documents, ignoring several public record requests, as a former CFO and Clerk Caruso, as I used to serve in Clerk Caruso's position, government transparency is one of the most important, or is the most important aspect as a CFO, I would argue. The CFO himself based his public comments around transparency. To ignore, by law, multiple public record requests, I would have to assume that he does not have information to provide.
Administrator, that was a long yes. Thank you. Please.
Madam Mayor, if
Of
I may,
course.
Commissioner Marino, you bring up an excellent point, and I think it's quickly to address it, our bond rating. I just sat through hours between the three main credit agencies that award us our main AAA bond. They were very firm, one of them in particular, that our reserves were at the right level and highly
Encouraged us to go higher.
highly encouraged us not to drop any lower than what we are at this point. I will tell you that if this property tax initiative goes into effect, they look at us based on revenue, what we have coming in. There is no feasible way that they will not look at dropping our bond rating without revenue, without actual set revenue that they know is coming in. And Sherry, I don't know if you want to address that any further, but we are truly looking at a bond rating, which means for the public, when we drop from a AAA, which is the best you can possibly be, and that is due to you, the Board of County Commissioners, sincerely, of maintaining that. When we borrow money for our capital improvement projects, all the projects that our community loves, we will be paying more in interest, and it will be a significant impact to our budget.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with everything there. And, they do look at our reserves. They want to know what's going on in our economy. And they have always been very supportive of Palm Beach County because we have a diverse economic base here. And so it's going to be an impact. So we'll have those.
Sherry, quick question since it was mentioned. Mm-hmm. When they issue bonds, are we locked into that current rate as soon as they issue it, or does it fluctuate?
Right, no, we do a set rate. We don't do a variable rate typically. We have in the past, but we don't have anything going forward. So it would be a fixed rate over a 20-year period. And then we're always looking to see if rates drop, if we can refund, like refinance our bonds. And we're going to bring you an item because we think we can refund a bond soon. And you'll see that in July probably.
We just earlier today, and is this the best course then, pausing all of our capital projects potentially to be bonded?
Madam Mayor, we have not paused any projects. We are just doing a budget workshop. Not a budget workshop, a workshop based on all our upcoming projects to get direction from the board. But that would be an argument to be made. Do we go now with the potential of bond ratings drop or rising for us, interest rates?
And I'm going to get to a slide in a little bit when we talk about debt. There's been about 3 major projects that we have had in our CIP that we always thought we were going to bond in the future, and those would all be funded from the general fund, the debt service payments. So we'll look at that slide in a little bit, and we'll talk about it at our capital workshop, but you can see where we are.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Okay. And then this next slide is just from 2007. The sheriff and the BCC departments were almost exactly the same budget. And then we look at our 2027 ask. The sheriff's budget is up 216.2%, while the BCC departments are up about 66.4%. We go ahead and show a detail of the CRA payments. I mentioned that we show here our 2026 payments of 83.5, but the estimate for 2027 is almost $90 million for our various CRAs. one last, there has been a request from 1909 asking for $250,000 in funding. That is not included in this proposed budget at all, but they did send in that request. So it's here for you to consider if you want to.
Sherry, one sec. Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you for that, Madam Mayor. Sherry, the other external funding requests, I know we've funded different places or different entities before. Do we have any other than 1909 with their requests, any other entities that have requested funding, including those that we've funded in the past?
So we have funding that we have funded in the past, and it's still in at the same dollar amount for like the FAU Tech Runways. There's some dollars there, the BDB. There's a chamber, Jonathan, I'm sorry, I can't think of the names of them, but there are several if you want to and stuff. We can always get a detail of some of those if you would like to see it, but because they have been built into the budget in the past, we just kept them in at the same dollar amounts. 1909, we did fund, I think, 2 years ago, but we used one-time funding for it, so it was never built in as like ad valorem funding because we used some dollars that came from a parks project or something. Anyway, so that's why they've never been built into our budget, so that's why they're not included now.
Oh, sorry, are you finished? Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, actually, the 1909 funding came from the refunding of the grant we gave to the city of West Palm Beach for the photographic center.
Graphics, okay, couldn't remember.
And that's okay. That's why it takes all of us together to remember all this stuff. But I know Shayna Ostrovitz from 1909 is here, and I have some questions for her.
Shayna, oh.
Thank you. And so, as you know, I was involved last time with the grant. Can you tell us what you did with the previous grant we gave you?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Commissioner Weiss and Mayor and Commissioners. And it feels a little awkward as we're talking about budget cuts to be up here with the proposal for funding, but I do want to say that together we've helped numerous small businesses and entrepreneurs scale their companies here, generating more tax income. So just to give you a little background, we provided technical assistance, mentoring, and business operational support for close to 50 businesses scaling here in Palm Beach County. Helping them with job creation focused with low to middle income residents and helping them grow into larger spaces. We recently helped 3 just in the past month move into their own spaces, 1 purchasing a building in Lake Worth and 3 others renting their own spaces for their growing employee base. We've created pathways and direct connections to capital. We created our own Palm Beach County investor group, bringing together 39 investors from angel capital to VC funds from all over the state here to Palm Beach County to fund our local businesses. We provide workspace to them, and we've hosted events. We get the corporate partners involved to support our businesses. So again, every business that we help scale means more commercial rent coming from them, more employees, and more economic activity for this county. That's our goal in partnership with you, so we appreciate your support.
Do you have any idea on the economic impact that you made over the last 2 years?
Yes, so I believe we have over the past 3 years, that's usually what we track. Last year, I believe it was $90 million in economic impact to Palm Beach County and 300 jobs.
And with that, these are people that live here in Palm Beach County that you're helping. These are not, you're not bringing new businesses here. You're helping people here create and start and grow their businesses here in Palm Beach County, our residents. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes.
All right.
Yes, and we actually do have people that we have attracted here as well to come and work for us, even though, you know, the BDB is doing the large-scale businesses. We have several entrepreneurs that are coming here now because they see this as an innovation hub that we're helping create.
Okay. Is there anything I should have asked you in regards that you want to tell the board?
No, just we really appreciate your support. We believe with continued funding, we'll help the small business owners and entrepreneurs that will continue building the economic vitality of this community. And we appreciate it, and we hope to continue partnering together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And if it is a funding, there may be an opportunity with CDBG dollars to fund 1909 through CDBG. If it's something that you're interested in, I can ask Jonathan again about that one. So.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor. Commissioner Powell brought up a really good point. There are a number of organizations and agencies and nonprofits that we fund. Every year we fund them. This is the first time this good organization has asked for funding. And I think it's an excellent organization, but I'd like to know what they do, what kind of return. And I would, if we could ask that before we vote on these things, because there are some organizations, I didn't even know they existed, but they get money from us. And what I'm really looking for is your effect on the county. I represent no cities. I represent complete unincorporated. My people pay taxes, but we don't have too many of these organizations existing where my residents live. So I'd like to know, what have we been paying all these years? And then I can look into their website to see what kind of, what are they doing for the county, that the county is giving them funding year after year after year. So if you could provide that to all of us, I appreciate it. And I'll look them up, and then when we come to vote on it, I might have something to say.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Powell, for bringing that up.
Sherry, please proceed.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and I always want to show you the total proposed budget. This is all of our funds. It's just under $10 billion. Of course, again, we're not completely balanced in the general fund. That's why our revenues don't equal our expenses at this point, but it will by September. I always want to show the proposed because this is what you will adopt in September is the full budget. But this includes everything, including our enterprise funds, which are self-funded, like water utilities and airports. We look at our fund balance versus our reserves totals. It's always talked about. Again, we talked about our fund balance a little bit earlier, how important it is with our rating agencies with those fund balance. Our fund balance is right now about 4.7. We carry forward about 2 million of that into various reserves within all the different funds. And then I try to look at what my other AAA rated counties throughout Florida look like. And so these in the kind of teal green color have AAA ratings by all three of the rating agencies. The blue ones have it from either 1 or 2 rating agencies. You can see the average in Florida. This is based on our final numbers as of September 30th, 2025, is about 39.3%. We're at 28.2%. We were about 30% the prior year, but with some of the POTUS funding that we expect to get reimbursed later this year, dropped it just slightly there, but it's still in good shape. We look at the next slide has kind of the history where during the recession you see that we took a pretty deep drop around 16% in the lowest in 2016. So we've really worked hard to try to build those numbers up. The estimate for 2026 right now is 26.4. We usually drop more than that. It's pretty conservative. So I would expect that to go higher by the time we actually close the year out. And we've done some of that because we knew we had the vacancies and didn't spend everything every year. So that helped to fund some of those there. We like to show our employees per 1,000 population.
Excuse me, Sherry. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. On the slide you were on, the employees per 1,000, is that what we had budgeted or how many we actually had?
This is based on budget.
Okay.
Yeah, and so the detail of by departments on page 11 of your package. I'll skip over since we'll go right to the next slide, which is the vacancies, which I think is probably what you're a little bit more interested in. So this was as of May 29th. We had about 652 vacancies, which is about 8.8%. I think we've seen it as high as 10 to 12%, so it's a little less at this point. Approximately 43% or 279 of these positions are ad valorem funded vacancies, and the others are within some of the other funded sources. Of the 279, only 61 have been vacant over a year, and only 38 of those are non-union positions. So there's different rules with union positions. On the right-hand side, our departments did cut about 19 vacant positions as part of their proposed budget, so that's why you see it a little bit less over there. Engineering probably has the highest number. They have some hard-to-fill positions, like with engineers and different things like that, so.
Sherry, I'm going to interrupt just a second on that note. So engineering and public works looks like they have the most amount, next to Parks and Rec, but I could argue roads are pretty important. And to Commissioner Powell's point, one of the top complaints we hear over and over, road, traffic congestion, infrastructure issues.
Right.
Are we doing anything at the county to address this shortage of employees in this very important department?
So I was going to say, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Madam Mayor, I actually was just out at Road and Bridges last week, meeting with the entire team. As I've spent this little less than first year getting our departments aligned under my philosophy, the next rung is getting deep in this retention number, which we did get down. I anticipate that to be very lower as far as vacancies are concerned. Working with our ombudsman, HR, we will be diving in heavy. If I could have David Ricks come up to address some of the, now I must say, and I know the CFO won't want to hear this, but pay is a factor in some of our core departments. Both availability for the skilled workers and pay has become a factor, but I'll let David.
Mr. Ricks, would you enlighten us how much the average we are paying versus maybe them going to either cities or other places or the private sector to work?
Well, it really depends on the positions. So the blue collar positions are very difficult to fill, especially the mid-grade blue collar, because they can get more overtime in the private sector. And so what we've been trying to do in some of the hard to fill positions, we're reclassing them at lower grade to bring them in to grow our own people. The engineers is a unique classification because coming out of college, a lot of these, even the private sector, having problems filling engineer positions. And so some of our jobs, we're using basically consultants to help us through some of the critical part of workload, but we are reclassing some of those as we call the entry level engineer positions, so they can, if they don't have their PE license, they can become a project coordinator. Then once they become the license, we'll reclassify and upgrade their positions. And so we've been working, we've got interns with FAU and Palm State College to help grow our own. But what the administrator said, we're definitely looking at all opportunities to kind of fill some of those hard positions.
And Madam Mayor, if I,
May I? Mr. Ricks, I guess the question here is, because you said a whole lot at once, right?
Right, yes,
Is that we are, yes, trying to get them out of college, we're trying to get those new guys, and then have them grow with us. But what
Right.
I've heard repetitively is once they are trained and they're up to speed, they leave us. Are we working on a way to keep them?
We are, and so, we are, because we'll pay for the training a little bit, but some of the ones we do bring in that are basically at, I'll say, the industry level, we are working with HR to actually give them an appropriate pay at that level. But it's a working process.
And Mr. Ricks, just to stay on point, we are also having to hire outside consultants to fill these gaps of not having the ability to keep these employees, are we not?
Yes, ma'am.
And so are you finding that to be more or less efficient and more or less expensive?
It's more expensive because you're paying the overhead for the consultant. But the challenges that we have, a tremendous amount of workload, and we want to make sure we get the work done. And so we're using all the means we have available to get the work, to keep the work going. And so, but we do have a long-term strategy working with HR and ombudsman and the county administrator to fill those positions. But it's not going to happen overnight. But we're working on it.
I would like you to work with our administrator and
Right.
staff and develop a plan.
Yes, ma'am.
That you can present to this board.
Right.
Because this is, again, one of those topics that we really need to address to our constituents and our residents. Traffic congestion is a huge problem. So we need to be prioritizing this top of the list. And I will recognize you, Administrator, and then we have a couple commissioners that are going to speak.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. First and foremost, we do have high hopes for our internship program. That started from a meeting that Commissioner Sachs put together with President Hasner and ourselves. We approved it in administration, and then you did as a board. We are in the midst of that. We did not decline in positions over the past year. We made a small dent in it, so we've stopped the bleed. It's how we are moving forward. The skilled positions, what I have seen, are extremely challenging. So we're looking at other aspects of how we can not only retain, but yes, recruit. I will come and share with you with Director Ricks, who, by the way, I have spent a decent amount of time with his frontline workers. Those that are breaking concrete to management, and the leadership he has within his department is incredible. I could tell they respect him. He's a great leader. So I know the issues of not filling the positions. I think the morale in the department, quite frankly, even with the tragedy, is quite high. So it's really getting those interested to apply, and then of course retaining them. But we will be pushing in my upcoming anniversary date. Next year is all going to be about culture, retention. When you come work for government, it can't just be all about the pay, because you are correct, Madam Mayor. We can never match the private sector. And what I've seen specifically in his department and some of our others based around construction, when there is a boom and the private sector comes in, they poach and pay top dollar that we can't. And then in a lull, there's plenty of people to provide. With the boom in Palm Beach County, we're unfortunately at that curve where the private sector is taking everything that they can.
Thank you.
Would you
Commissioner
agree with-
Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. I know we tabled it a while back, and I just want to put it on everybody's radar. We had talked about doing a study of the actual employees, and do we have too much in management, not enough, and we tabled it because we wanted to give you a little bit more time. As a board, we said this is something that we want to do. When do you see that happening in the future, that we would actually do a study of this kind to make sure that we have the correct allotment of staff in each department? Because we talked about that, we've been talking about it for 2 years, actually. But is this something feasible in the future? Because I know it was board advised several months ago, but we tabled it because we wanted to give you a little bit more time as administrator to figure out where you wanted to go and what, as you said, your philosophy. So,
Madam Mayor.
can you expound?
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. As you know, there has been a significant amount of changes made within the departments, from reductions to changes of directors and DCAs. Not only the changes, but the realignment of our county departments. Of course, I'm biased, but I would submit that we are aligned in our verticals better than we have been in a long time. I would love to come by, and I will come by to all of you to show you where we are management. I am more than I would be pleased to come here, Madam Mayor, at your discretion, to give a full report of management ratios and where we stand today. And Commissioner, if the board, you are my bosses. If you ever feel we need a consultant to take a look at it, I am.
Oh, I don't want to spend more money if we don't have to.
No,
this was something that, this came out of a long discussion over 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that's the whole reason why the Big Black Book was developed. So I just wanted to make sure that we revisit the discussion. I don't want to spend money if we don't have to. But I just want to make sure that we have the right allotment of staff in the right departments, doing the right jobs, and have the right level of leadership. That's really what I'm going for. And I think that's what the board is going for, because, as you said, we have, 61 positions that have been vacant over a year. This came from always having close to 8 to 10% vacancies. And if they were vacant for a year, why did we even have that job position? And I understand that, you fund it, it goes into reserves, and it helps build our reserves if we still have the funding for it. But I just want to make sure that if there's a job we don't need, we don't even have it, and we're not even looking for someone for a job we don't need. If someone else has taken over that position, or if one person is doing a job and a half, they should be getting paid for a job and a half instead of just one job. So, I mean, I could beat this to a dead horse, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
In full transparency, to keep up with what we need to retain and pay incoming people, some of those positions are open, so we can use those dollars to maintain our workforce. So it's not just wasteful open positions as it may look on paper. It's also how we're affording our staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So one of the comments that I wanted to make, the administrator already alluded to it, but with these high specialty jobs, we are not the only ones that are struggling hiring these positions. If you look across other counties, across other cities, and even at the MPO, they hire somebody, they last a few years, and then they get better offers. So I think this is something that, unfortunately, is part of the landscape in the world that we live. That the more experience, the more valuable you make yourself, the more offers and the more interest that you're going to garner. Because once you come into the county, you have the insights, you learn how to work the system. That makes you extremely valuable to a private entity who works with the county. So I think we always have to make improvements, but the comment that the administrator made earlier is we got hammered because supposedly our pay was more or exaggerated compared to other counties. And unfortunately, the cost of living in every county is not quite the same as it is in Palm Beach County. And the only way that we're going to make a dent on this is either pay them, what the market rate is, or train them. And that they're probably going to be here, a few years, and then they're going to decide to take their talents elsewhere. Even LeBron did that, I believe. So, I think it's one of those things that we have to always take a look at, but we may want to look at what we pay because it has to be competitive. Otherwise, we're never going to fill these positions, especially in areas that we really need them. So, thank you.
Madam Mayor.
Please.
Thank you. This is a truly important point in my estimation, and I'm going to go back to the CFO because when he made his comments about pay and workforce and government, he compared Palm Beach County, Broward, and I believe Miami-Dade, and he said, if Broward pays one of their directors, X amount, then Palm Beach County has to up it and vice versa. It is not just the tri-counties. It is the nation. We are actually on the lower end of most large states, California, Texas, Ohio, Illinois. When I've looked at their pay scales compared to us as Palm Beach County and Florida in general, and we are at the lower end of the scales for major states. So it's not just that we are competing with the tri-county area. We have to compete with the nation in government work. And Commissioner, you are correct. When somebody learns an expertise in transportation or in engineering, we are susceptible to losing them to any jurisdiction in the country.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
Thank you so much. And I think this goes to what we were talking about before on an efficiency of government. Vacancies doesn't necessarily mean that we've failed. It just means that that department may be operating at a high efficiency rate without so many employees. And I credit the departments for that as well. I think some of our departments need more funding in order to get more equipment, all right? But a lot of them can do so much better with fewer employees. So I think it's a two-way street on that. And the last thing I'd like to say is a culture you were talking about. Engineering department's got a great culture. I mean, they're with me all the time when I speak to groups, usually standing in front of me as we discuss traffic and road construction. But they're always there. That's got a great culture. So does the Parks Department. If you need something, it's that culture that they always want to help. So I think that speaks very well. You can't see a graft on it or anything that'll show culture, but people know it. When I go into meetings, my residents know who the engineers are, and they know that they're coming to the meeting. So same thing with parks. So I really, really commend you on having that culture, because that's what makes us a team, not a testing ground, not an apprenticeship for people who want to be, an engineer in some large corporate entity. But we're a team together. We work together, and that's all of us pulling together as a culture. And thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Madam Mayor?
You may.
Thank you, Commissioner. Don't want to get too far off track, but I did want to address this briefly. I took a look at our statistics of road construction, resurfacing improvements, and there was a percentage-based wise a decline over the last, call it decade, which now that costs have skyrocketed for this department, for road and bridges, if you ask me what is your most difficult task budget-wise as administrator, I would tell you it is road and bridges. Because if we don't get this right now, I don't see it, the trend of what things are costing, how we ever catch up. No one, of course, and all due respect to the prior administration, completely get it. No one saw the 2020 boom here of residents moving down, but we're at a reflection point that we have to get it right now. We are also looking, Madam Mayor, and thank you to Commissioner Weiss, who's been a great sounding board, not only a boss, but somebody I've relied on his intelligence and intellect in AI, and we are deeply involved in looking at what will actually work for automation and traffic signals and AI. When I bring something to you, the board, when we as a department bring something to you to a board, which some jurisdictions have up to 30% better traffic flow based on these on the autonomous, well, it's a wide variety of technology, I'll put it that way. I don't want to bring something to you for a large appropriation and then have it be obsolete in a short amount of time, because we're kind of in that as well. But we are looking both workforce power, technology, and then ultimately it's going to come down to costs as well. So one of the gut-wrenching things as your administrator, when I saw what Tallahassee did, they are not really understanding, I don't believe, in my personal opinion, what the costs are. And with your indulgence, if David could just rattle off and some costs, arms, everything, if you could.
So a couple months ago, we presented to the board just a mast arm project. When it was priced in 2018, I think it was like $800,000. The current price is almost doubled. And this is a vendor that also works with the state. So it's the cost of doing business. Road construction has gone up about 30% since about 2018-19. And so it's the nature of a very competitive market, so.
Please proceed, Sherry.
All right, we'll move on to our capital budget. I'll just try to hit a couple of highlights, a couple of things I'd like to point out, since we're going to set up a separate workshop to get a little bit more in detail. Our capital improvement plan is a 5-year plan. We adopt the first year, and the out years we look at on an annual basis as we adopt those years. Pay-as-you-go is really our $124 million that we put in every year. It helps to ensure continued operations and reliability. It relieves more costly or numerous repairs, and it can reduce some of our downtimes. Some of our plans for our larger projects, we've done multi-year funding where we've included maybe some of the design costs in our out of our operating to move it into capital, and then looked at bonds and grants and other revenue sources for some of the construction costs where it's eligible. Once a project is approved by the board, the funding carries forward until the project is completed. Most projects are multi-year and completed in phases. Contracts require full funding for the contract to be executed, but those are continued, like I said, carried forward as approved by the board. Any additional funding must be approved by the board, and upon completion, any remaining funds are returned to the original funding source. We have various types of revenue we use for capital, ad valorem. We've had our surtax, which ended on December 31st, but it's still hanging out as we complete those projects. Gas tax, impact fees, proportionate share, bondings, tourist development tax, grants, building fees, enterprise fees, and our interest earnings. All those have helped to fund our capital. Our 5-year CIP proposed is $3.3 billion. And broken down by our departments, facilities is about 18.6, engineering is about 18%, water utilities 25%, and some others, all the other departments have smaller percentages. Those are the largest. So for 2027, our $124 million, we divvied up with 38.8% with engineering, about 11% for facilities. We always include OTI, or technology and innovation, to help keep up with our servers and different equipment there. Very small piece for and parks is about 30 million, or 24.2%, and then public safety at 6.6 million. Looking at our history, we...
Excuse me, Sherry. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. Sorry, at the bottom, it says does not include carry forward funding. I'm sure I could find it, but you probably have it, right?
Yeah, so this is just what we consider new dollars over the next 5 years. So it doesn't have what's left over for fiscal year 2026, what we're going to carry forward into the next year. Do you have an estimate at this point? I know we usually do a big dive in August, but...
Just an estimate.
Yeah.
It's usually around $2 billion.
$2 billion, all right, thank you.
Okay. And then our history of our CIP, or our ad valorem funding, back in 2007, it was just about $82 million. Of course, we had the Great Recession. And so over a 7-year period, we funded about $79 million. That's what brought us to try to do the surtax, was to try to make up for the lack of funding for that 7-year period. And our goal had always been to start trying to increase the funding, and that's what we have done. And we've made a concerted effort, and the board has really supported us to make sure that we get the funding in there at the $124 million. So. And there's always more capital projects than funding available. So on the next slide, we just broke down the $3.3 billion over the 5 years on the various types of funding sources. Of course, 2027 would be the year that we would actually fund those, and then the out years we will look at on a year-to-year basis. And the same numbers there by department, and all the detail behind each of these departments is in the package. We'll move on to our debt service and our bonds. We issue 2 different major types of bonds, our general obligation and our non-ad valorem bonds. We have our 2 bonds that go for a vote later in November for libraries and for parks. The next several pages, I won't spend a lot of time on. It's just our current outstanding bonds. It's there for your, just your benefit. And then we'll talk a little bit about what we've planned, and this is items that we've had in our presentation and our plan for the last couple of years. In November of this year, of 2025, this fiscal year, we issued about $90 million to take care of our animal care and control building. The 810 Deter building replacement, $22 million. We had added $8 million for South County admin for design only, that we'll discuss when we do our workshop. But there was 3 other projects that we've always said we would probably bond in the future. One is the Airport Center 3, which would be our property appraiser and tax collector building at $140 million. South County Complex was estimated at $220 million, and this building at $150 million. So the next page is just what our existing non-ad valorem debt service looks like by our various sources. So the general fund in 2026 funded about 43.5. Bed taxes about 16.4 with the convention center in the ballparks. And transportation improvement fund, about $1 million of gas tax for a bridge that we did years ago. And the other is some revenue sources we get from the baseball teams to help fund the stadiums and their debt service. So in 2026, that total is about 69.5. We'll take a look at the general fund line, and on the next slide, we brought that over just to show what our current general fund looks like between the general, but all the other debt that's outstanding, plus the new debt we just issued for animal care and control. It's about $43.5 million. In 2027, it would go to 45.5, so just a slight change there. And then in 2028, if we continued with our original plan to issue bonds for Airport Center 3 and the Governmental Center, we would have 2 new debt services of about $20 million. In 2029, if we issued a bond for South County, it would be another 15.8. So it's a pretty significant, we're looking at $35 million increase. So that's why we may want to stop and hold our thoughts on this and see where we are with the sales tax initiative on the ballot. And because those would be significant increases, yeah, for the property tax, yeah, property tax. And then lastly, the proposed GO bonds, just a reminder, because we voted on that today, $175 million for the library, $280 million for parks. Okay, future, ready? I don't know, right? Just a reminder, we show what our adopted 26 budget is, what our projected, this is just for the general fund, our 2027 projected budget for 2027. We're out of balance with our simple majority vote of $42.4 million. If we want to raise the millage rate to 4.5 and keep it where it is today, we would still be out 20.2, and that's assuming you're good with everything we've presented to date. I like nods, yeah, no, yeah, okay. So, and then we looked at some scenarios for the future, but it really, we did like a 5% increase. It doesn't completely take into account what happens with the property tax amendment that's on the ballot. So we won't really look at 2028, 2029 at this point. We do need to focus on the 2027. Future funding budget issues, of course, the maximum millage rate for now is 4.439. If the amendment passes in November, this calculation will change, and the maximum millage rate would be the rollback rate. So that would be a simple majority vote. Anything above the rollback rate, up to 110% of it, would require a supermajority vote. So that would be part of the amendment that's passing going forward. We had our property appraiser here recently that talked a little bit about the tax amendments, what the impacts would be for the $150,000 in 2028, and then it going to $250,000 in 2029. It lowers our cap. It does simplify the maximum millage calculation. However, it does make roll back your maximum millage rate. And
Excuse me, Sherry, Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Sorry, if you could go back, you said the maximum is 110%.
The maximum millage rate will be the rollback, and if you can go up to 110% above it would be a supermajority vote.
And that would be the max for the year. And then the next year we would do it. Just because the question has been posed to me, if this ballot initiative were to pass,
right,
then you could just go to 10. but that's not actually
No, okay, so if
even with.
If it passes, the rollback rate would now be what we call our maximum millage rate for a simple majority vote. And then it allows you to go 110% above rollback. Am I saying?
Explain it in a 4.5.
Right.
Okay, go from 4.5, thank you.
Okay, so our current is 4.5. And so let's say that our maximum millage rate goes to 4.4, let's say our rollback rate goes to 4.2859. So in the future, your rollback rate is now that maximum millage rate for a simple majority vote. And then you can go up to 110% above that would be a supermajority vote. Anything above 110% would be unanimous. So to go to 10 mills, it would be a unanimous vote. And once you go up that high, I don't think we were really considering it, but let's just, we'll pretend that we're going to go to a high millage. And it's a unanimous vote, then it's a unanimous vote for the future, and things. So it makes it a little tougher.
Okay, so I wasn't even sure if going to 10 was something that was posed to me, and I was like, I don't think that that's actually an option, but technically it is.
It's an
but
option,
it's
but
unanimous.
no. And I don't know that we're going to need to go to 10 mills. When we talk about a $250,000 exemption.
Slide
Well,
69.
Excuse
69?
me, Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Question. How do we even operate going in at a deficit? And what is by charter, aren't we supposed to have a balanced budget? Go ahead, anybody, take a guess.
Thank you, Commissioner. We will be looking for direction. Really, the main three corrections we can make. You could direct me to cut more out of our BCC departments. That will affect, without question, services out of your departments. You can raise taxes, raise the millage, and/or we have to look, of course, at the sheriff's budget. Or a combination of the three. But we are out of balance 42 million with $35 million plus cuts from the BCC departments.
And Sherry, what on average, what would you say our mid-year adjustment is?
This year was almost 40 million, but in prior years, it had been more like 30 million. So it was a little unusual this year, but about 30 million.
Which gives us, I would never want to rely on that for any reason, but gives us a little bit of a cushion now. But I don't ever want to rely on that because you never know what's going to happen. We could have something crazy happen and not have a mid-year adjustment at all.
Well,
But don't we have to have a balanced budget regardless of that?
yeah, we have to have a balanced budget. So you're basically, I think, saying, could we use our reserves to balance the budget? And the problem is then we're using one-time money for ongoing operations. And so that's where it gets a little hinky in my world, and I don't love that idea. When we did drop money at our mid-year, we also knew that we had some capital expenses that we may need to come up with some funding for. And so we thought, let's just leave it there. And if I need to tap it for some of our capital projects that we want to move forward immediately, we would have it there, which would be for one time.
And we have Dorothy coming back again next month with her final valuation, is that correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have Dorothy coming back next month with her final valuation, which could change, but not drastically.
And we normally will see a higher amount for the July 1 number. So I will expect some additional, but you're talking maybe $5 to $8 million, $7 million. It's not $43 million. So we do need to have some direction on closing that gap.
Thank you. Those are all my questions.
Commissioner Weiss, did that answer your question as well? Okay. Please proceed, Sherry.
So we'll go to the last slide, which is just the numbers. This is what our property appraiser gave us She updated it on Friday. So of course, with 150,000 in the first year, it's about $130 million based on today's values in millage rate. The total over the 2 years with the full 250 would be about a $233 million impact. However, you know, I would hope that some of our existing values will increase slightly, and that might help negate some of those. And then depending on where we are with the millage rate and whether we increase it over the next 2 years to help cover some of the cost, that's also options.
Madam Mayor?
You may.
If I may, and I think this is worth bringing this up as we look at the tax impact. One thing that has not been mentioned in these slides is that, and I know Senator Sachs and Senator Powell know this well, there's an implementing bill. If this passes, that comes in November. If you notice what the governor put on his website, not only did he put the 250, but he put 500. And there's language within the current bill that will allow legally the legislature, so they choose in an implementing bill to potentially increase the cap or the exemption to 500. That can happen in an implementing bill. The governor will be in office until January. He's made some public comments about the 500,000. I could tell you that there are many up at the Capitol, both from the industry, business industry standpoint and legislators that are watching this extremely concerned. So what we see here on this paper potentially may not be the final product if it is passed. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you. All right, well, thank you for the presentation, and but a couple comments and questions. You know, when you're looking at capital, one of the important points is the O&M, and so when you're talking about capital projects, I think it would be important for us to understand what the O&M savings are in replacing some of these capital, you know, because some of them are replacements of existing facilities. And so have you done the analysis to show us the savings if we were to move forward? What would be the savings on the O&M side, as you know, as well? So I think that would be an important component to have. I mean, the elephant in the room, of course, is a PBSO budget. And last year, I think they took all the new revenue dollars went to support their needs for their budget. This year, it's all the new revenue dollars plus an additional, I think, 13 million for us. Now, whether the property tax thing passes or not, we're still going to have to fund PBSO. Is somebody working with them? I mean, this is going to be unsustainable. I mean, you can't. I mean, 13 million over every penny coming in.
Madam Mayor?
You may.
I have been having discussions with the sheriff. We have a very good working relationship. There may be some opportunities to get to that 13 million in mid-year cleanup, but nothing has been guaranteed yet. But as far as taking all the uptick in dollars, I don't believe there's wiggle room in there right now at this current point.
I mean,
in our negotiations.
Going in the out cycles, you know, when you look at his budget, the increases, you know, a lot of it is from personnel and is running about 13%. You know, that I just don't know how we're going to be able to continue to do that. Plus, he's got a lot of capital that he's been holding back on, and I know we've talked about it for years, and he's, you know, tried to push it off, and he'll continue, I'm sure, to try and do a really good job with that. But they've got a lot of capital needs that that have been unfunded. So I just see this fiscal cliff, and we're coming closer and closer to falling off of it. The beach parking, if we reject that, do you guys have a contingency for that?
No, that's almost 9 million. We'd be out 52 million.
Here's my feeling about it is, you know, we have people that going to the beach I mean, that's potentially, and having free parking is the only thing they really have. I mean, they can go to the park, I guess, but to go to the beach and be able to have their families out there, spend a day without any real expense, we're the only people who have that left. There's no other, no other beaches that offer free parking except us. And so for people, I mean, there's plenty of people in this community that a day at the beach is the best they're ever going to have. And I'm concerned that if we do this, they will no longer have access.
Commissioner, if I may, it is the board's prerogative. Staying at current millage rate, 4.5, is an additional $20 million, but we would still need $23 more million of balance above budget.
I know, even if we, and first off, I appreciate you going to the rollback rate, but I don't remember asking for that.
It's
not rollback.
It's not
It's not rollback, it's the maximum millage rate, which is slightly
I don't
less. This is
remember
a simple
asking for that
majority.
either, quite frankly. We didn't, I mean, in the past, we've always come to these meetings and then based on what we hear, then make our request as to whether we need to raise or lower millage. But even, and that was, I mean, it's at the end of my questions here, but, I mean, even at the 4.5, we're out of balance by about $20 million.
Correct.
And so.
And then not doing the beach parking is another almost 10, so.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but, I mean, we didn't approve I mean, we talked about it as possible revenue, but I don't recall us saying, let's move it.
Commissioner, if I may, we're not moving it at all. This from the workshop perspective, we have it baked in, of course, for our workshop, but we're looking for direction in.
Well, that's why I'm raising the issue. I'm very concerned about the folks that live in our community, that work here, that basically just getting by, and their ability to be able to take advantage of one of the amenities that we have, and that everybody should have access to that, whether they have money or not to be able to pay. You go to the beach for a day and it's $4 an hour, you're going to spend, $25, $24. And that may be enough to where people just can't afford it. So I'm concerned about that. The CRA contribution's now up to $90 million, and I think a few years ago, you gave us a report on the sunsetting or the potential sunsetting of them.
Not anytime soon.
I mean, that's significant. That's a significant revenue, as you know, that we don't share in. I mean, we just have a pass through for us. With the Office of Technology and Innovation, they're flat this year. They've lost 3 positions, and I think we have a priority though of supporting technology and innovation. This budget doesn't seem to show that, as my friend said about our housing. So this is flat. And then I think lastly is just, and I know you guys are working on all these things, but the the growth in all of those offices as well. I mean, they're up substantially. If you take out the sheriff, and I know we have unfunded mandate that came from the state for the clerk, but when you look at all of them, and next year will be we go with the SOE's office, it goes up and down depending on, what she has or what that office have to do with elections. So it's, it's nice that the state is looking after the property owners and that, but they also are giving us unfunded mandates at the same time, and it's exacerbating a challenging situation trying to keep all these costs under control.
Clerk Caruso.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to point out on slide 69, the impact of property tax amendments. The last part of it shows a 10% cap revenue reduction and a 5% cap revenue reduction. This is $200 billion and $206 billion Is this a typo?
I think what it's trying to say is that right now we have a 10% cap, and because of that 10% cap, we are losing $210 billion in revenues. And if
Values.
I'm sorry, in values, right. And so if that goes down to 5%, then that's what it's going to be.
So it'll be a 4 billion reduction
Right, a $4 billion reduction.
of not values.
Of values, right.
Yeah, that's the values.
The value or taxable value reduction?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, 210 billion, okay, versus revenue reduction. What would be the revenue reduction as a result of that? You're welcome to get back to me if it's not
About
available right
$18
this
million.
second. 18?
About
18
18.
million.
18 million, thank you.
Are you finished, clerk?
Yes,
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
Madam Mayor, we do have a public speaking card, which, by the way, we don't usually do during workshops. I'm not sure the agenda does have it on there. Would you like to address this now, or?
Please, will you call them up?
All right, we only have one, but is Shayna Ostrowitz? Okay. Done.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I do have comments, if I may.
Of course.
I know this is just a workshop, and we're gathering information, and the team, thank you for doing all of this due diligence. I have to kind of sort of echo Commissioner Weiss's comments. There's a lot of things here that were assumed, and the first one I'll address is this rollback rate that you guys want to go, that this slides were sort of built around, going down to I don't remember what it was now.
4.43.
It's not rollback.
Yeah,
It's
4.4393.
not full rollback.
It's not rollback.
Right. Or, usually I think we've always looked at keeping it the same and looking versus maybe a rollback. I understand how you got to that number, and you guys made some cuts. However, I will echo what Commissioner Weiss said. The only other workshop that we had, I don't remember discussing doing this, so I don't know where that got lost in translation. But and the reason I bring that up is I don't know if it behooves us to cut down this year, knowing that we're looming a massive property tax cut next year. So to me, that going down this year to even go further down next year in property values is very concerning, because we're trimming this year, plus we're going to take a nice little haircut next year if that passes. So to me, that I'm not sure if I'm okay with going down further than where we're at today. The MSTU regarding our law enforcement, I think that's something that we should explore. I think at this point in time, I think everything should be on the table. So I would like us to at least go through the exercise. And Administrator, question to you. Did all of the constitutional officers do the same exercise of looking at making cuts? Because we're taking a nice little haircut. So is everybody doing this too?
I cannot speak for the constitutional officers. They submit their budget and handle their budget as they deem as an independent constitutional officers. That said, as you saw from the slide, there's only been increases, not decreases in cuts.
Well, we can't continue to have all these departments continue to increase, and yet every single year, are we the only ones that are going to take a decrease, and it's our staff, our people, our constituents that are expecting a certain level of service. I don't think that's sustainable. I agree with Commissioner Weiss. Asking for, what was the PBSO's ask this year, 94 million? Asking for $94 million, I mean, we are taking a massive cut, and yet we're looking at potentially funding $94 million new. How much did we fund last year? That was a pretty big increase too. How many?
110.
So what we're saying is, in 2 years, is going over $200 million for PBSO. I'm just, these are the facts that I'm trying, that are before me, that I have to make decisions on. And it feels like it's only the BCC, the Board of County Commissioners, are the only ones doing the exercise of making cuts. So I don't know how we send a message to all the constitutional officers that they need to come back with their pencils sharpened, because that's what we've asked before, and it's not what we're getting. So I think that's what I wanted to say, but I think we need to explore the MSTU option. I mean, at this point in time, I don't know what else we can do. And I think we should do a comparative of 4.5 versus what 4.43. What?
Administrator.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Commissioner, I think I will have over 30 department directors very pleased if we stayed at 4.5. When I was hired, I applied on fiscal responsibility. It's actually in my employment contract of how I reduce the spending in departments. It's actually in my contract. I wanted to follow that contract. With the state bearing down how they did with what I believe is a fictitious number, I wanted to present an administrator's budget, because that's what this is at this time. It's the administrator's budget. I wanted to show you, the board, and the state that we are not wasteful spenders. The counter argument of all the frivolous and false claims that were made upon you is my bosses. So I wanted to present my first budget in that light. I know we did that. If it is your prerogative that we hold at 4.5, fund county departments at the current rate, we will do that, and we will gladly do it. But as this is my budget and the administration's budget, what I present in front of you right now, we can operate at a high level, but of course, we always can use more funding, and that will be your direction that you sent to me. Thank you.
Sherry, maybe the next time you come, or maybe during the week, you could do this for me, but if we make that little trim this year, how would that impact next year, including the decrease in property valuation? Is that accounting, are these numbers that you're giving us here accounting for that trim this year plus the 4.5?
So,
Plus the 250?
right, so those 150, 250,000, exemptions. It is truly just based on current year values, and it's not taking into account that we would expect our existing values to increase a little bit every year, that we will get new construction, that depending on where we set our millage rate always affects what our rollback rate is for the future and things like that. So, by lowering our existing values by that 150,000 year one, our rollback rate may be higher than whatever we set to date because we have less existing values coming in. And so then we would be looking at that raising of the rates. So we could be looking at, in year 2028, a millage rate of more like a 4.7 mils, and then in 2029, even up to 5 mils, and things. So there's those kind of scenarios to, that would consider to bring in the same values as now. So,
Thank you.
I have driven my staff crazy with these scenarios. And so anytime you want me to drive you a little nuts with numbers, I mean, they back away from me, and things like that. So it gets, yeah.
Madam Mayor, if I may briefly.
People waiting a lot. Clerk Caruso, I think you wanted to speak to constitutional officers.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I just want to, and I appreciate the challenges that you guys are facing with this property tax amendments and within the budget. It's a tremendous challenge that you've got to accomplish, and I see you getting close to $22 million shortfall, but and I know you've worked hard to get there, and there's a lot more work to do. That being said, I just wanted to point out that to address a couple of the commissioners with regards to the clerk's office budget, and comptroller, about 65% of our clerk staff in the courts work for less than a living wage, Palm Beach County living wage. They're at about $20 an hour. And the living wage in Palm Beach County is $25 an hour. Since 2007, our budget has increased only 22% since 2007. And I'm sure the administrator is well aware with this, having sat in this seat for a number of years. That being said, I don't feel that it's excessive. Now, I understand, we're showing a $3.9 million increase in our budget. That includes a 5% COLA for those clerk staff that are working under a living wage. And it also includes the $2.7 million which is a result of the change in statutes, which dates way back to 2000, I believe 2008, could be 2005. And we talk about unfunded mandates. We've been unfunded for doing those services since 2005. We've been providing those services that now the statutes are calling for you to pay. Okay, but we've been doing that since 2005 till this year, and having to come up with the money from other means and ways. If you go back to 2005, we had over 1,000 employees. So how are we funding it? We now have 650 employees, and we don't provide any. When somebody terminates or they voluntarily leave or retire, we don't pay them sick or vacation time. So we're finding every little angle, to cover that, what we refer to as an unfunded mandate. It's been unfunded for us for 20 years.
Well, thank you, Clerk, for being fiscally responsible. Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. So, Sherry, the 4.43 rate is to be a simple majority. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And at 4.5, we would be a supermajority.
5 of you, yes.
Okay. And at 4.5, we're at a loss of 20 million, give or take.
Right.
Tell the sheriff to cut his budget by 20 million.
And if you don't want to do beach parking, then I'm out 30 million. So
I don't have a problem with the beach parking because remember, I've got a lot of beach in the north end, and I get a lot of phone calls from folks that can't park because there are out-of-state cars parked there, and the residents can't even park because out-of-state people are using the park and using them for free. So if you come up with a formula, I'm actually okay with beach parking. Again, fee-based for us is not, fee-based is a hard thing to do, but I'm okay with the beach parking because, again, the north end of the county has an awful lot of free beaches, and you go by there and the cars are, none of them are Florida, I mean, not none, but a great deal of them are not Florida cars, and they're displacing our residents from going to the beach. So I don't have a problem with that. But I do, the sheriff's budget is unsustainable. And
And even at the 43 million, it's still almost a 5% increase, so,
yeah.
which is significant.
So that would be my comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just looking at what both Commissioner Weiss and Commissioner Flores, as well as Commissioner Marino, were talking about with regard to millage rate of the 4.5 or the rollback. Quick question. We brought up the sheriff's budget a couple of times, and we've also talked about the MSTU. With the sheriff's budget, how much over the last 5 years? I know the sheriff's budget, they're looking at an 8% increase this year, or
It was almost 9,
9%
10%
increase?
last year.
over the last 5 years. I had the sheet, but I didn't bring it with me. What was the increase since, let's just say 2020, the total percentage?
And I'm sure Lisa's going to find it in 2 minutes and tell you. She has it too.
If you have I don't have the sheet with me.
I also believe it was on slide 35.
Thank you.
If we could go to that slide.
In 2019, the budget was 670 million, and now the request is is 1183 billion.
Okay.
Sheriff, from 2019?
So from 670 million to 1.18 billion in total? And the reason I asked that question is because we've talked about, the sheriff, the law enforcement, the budget. One of the things that we have not really discussed in detail is we talked about property taxes and the potential cuts of services if the property tax amendment does indeed pass on the November ballot. Well, even when you discuss the sheriff's budget, even with an increase, the challenge you'll have if we cut services at the county level, let's say we cut parks and we create user fees and we reduce, and I know we just earlier in the commission meeting, we passed an ordinance that will allow park rangers to now be deputized, where park rangers will have sheriff abilities to be able to arrest people and things of that nature. If we were to reduce our services, and even if we tried to reduce or keep the sheriff's budget at what he's asking for, we would definitely end up increasing it, because if you reduce the number of parks that are available or the amount of time that people can use parks, maybe increase the fees for parking at beaches and parking at parks, close down some libraries, or some of the things that we're going to have to tighten our budget on, is going to create, in my opinion, I could be wrong, right? It potentially could create additional law enforcement issues. So those are some challenges that we have to look at. Remember, we would also be forced to look at services that we provide to the youth, as well as homeless services. So while we're discussing the potential to roll back, and I want to thank our administrator for being very cautious and conscious of the costs as we move forward. This property tax, the potential property tax cut or reduction, could create other areas that we haven't really looked at. So while I'm talking about the sheriff's budget, we could see an additional increase. The other thing I wanted to bring up was in this budget, even in the backup, we've talked about cost of living. The clerk spoke of a cost of living adjustment for employees at the clerk. In our backup, do we have anything, is there an adjustment in here for county employees? I know last year we did a 6%. What is the potential cost of living increase for our employees at the
Madam
county?
Mayor.
Administrator.
Thank you. We have a 3% guaranteed COLA. However, there is a second 3% that will be tied to merit-based and performance on the
It's
job.
not 1 to 3%, right? It's not
Right, 1 to 3%. So 3% base guaranteed, and then our employees have an opportunity to earn up to an additional 3%, capping it out at 6.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. Commissioner Flores said it'll be quick.
Just a quick follow-up to that. Are any of the constitutional officers implementing a similar system? Or are they just giving a flat
Increase.
increase?
From what I've seen, it's a flat increase, like Clerk Caruso just mentioned. The clerk's office is giving a guaranteed base COLA of 5%.
But they're also under the current living wage.
Not all positions, but
Most.
they're frontline workers
Was
are,
it
yes.
65% of them?
And how many of ours? I mean, if we're going to compare apples to oranges, we should compare apples to apples, so we should have that data too. That doesn't have to be today.
Yep.
Thank you. Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think what Commissioner Powell was talking about is could happen. And I hate to, we're all talking sort of in a vacuum because I don't have enough statistics. I don't know, for example, how much other law enforcement we have, and you'll get us that information. One of the most important things I'm looking at is how many agencies, and you're going to get us that information too, nonprofits and groups that ask money, like how many manatees do we have in Palm Beach, you know? I like to know how much money is going out to non-vital services. So we've been doing every year. This is a different year. And what concerns me is what Commissioner Powell brought up. We have to have law enforcement in our parks because we have homeless in our parks. So that is an issue that when you squeeze, like squeezing a balloon, you're going to have something else is going to come up, right? We have money that goes to the county jail because that's the largest mental health unit we have in the county. So what's happened is that the law enforcement has picked up issues that and you were talking about too, the children's issues. We closed some of these libraries and parks. Kids are going to get back on the street because they don't have any place else to go. And then where are we going to get the money to feed the kids during the summer months at the libraries? So these are all issues that we have to look at carefully rather than say, oh, just cut this, cut it. Let's see what the pie is first. If you could get us that information, I think we can make some appropriate cuts on areas that may not fit in this year. And so that we can keep the services open so that our residents have places to go. And I respect Commissioner Marino. I don't have any beaches. I wish I did. But you can't find a parking spot up in your area. And so maybe we need to review that a little bit, and I'll be anxious to hear what you say. But the bottom line is this. We don't have a full picture. I don't have a full picture. And I want to know how much money we're going out every year to agencies, and I don't know what the heck they're doing. Let's see what they're doing. And then let's try to solve the problems that we have to use law enforcement to solve. No Baker Act for pediatrics in this county. So what's happening is so many people are being arrested. That increases the cost for the jail. And so let's see the full picture, and then we can have a good discussion. And thank you for meeting this challenge.
Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Yeah, two things. One is, I look, every 2 weeks we get a report from HR, all the new hires, plus all the people that have left the county. And I look at the wages that we're paying them, and we have lots and lots of people that get hired here at $15 an hour. Lots. So well below living wage.
May I address? Our minimum's 18 year, those would be interns at 15.
Okay. So it's at 18, still below. So just so our friends know that it's not just one office. And I assume you would find this all across all our municipalities and everywhere else. I mean, so a lot of people work here are really struggling, and they qualify for a lot of the services that we're trying to offer for people. But I want to ask about the interest. What do you so we have about $500 million in general funds that we've invested, right? That are in our investment income. What are you projecting for that? Because I didn't see the figure in the budget specifically. It's mixed in with other revenues, I think.
Right, it is another. Lisa has what we have budgeted.
Yeah, we are estimating about 36 million in interest for 2027, just for the general fund.
And what percent did you use?
I don't remember. We get it from the clerk's office. It was.
Okay, well, look, they're here.
We
so
believe
we'll
it's 2.75 that they gave us for the budget.
Yeah. And Felicia's nodding, I think, yes.
2.75 is what you gave us. So we hear people come in and write, they want to talk to us about our investments and what we invest in. This is real money to the county when we're able to earn additional interest. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars that it helps us with. And so we're trying to be good stewards. I know people may have other sorts of interests, but when we look at both the preservation of our capital plus the income we're able to earn and to try and balance that with also the liquidity needs, I think it's incumbent upon us, if we can earn extra 100 basis points or, what people would know as an extra 1% on these sums of money, it is a lot of money. And so I understand people wanting to question us, and I have no issue with them doing that. That's that's good for transparency in government, but also understand we are really trying to help balance this budget. And it's by the decisions this board makes on how we spread that portfolio out. So,
Clerk Caruso.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'll add to Commissioner Weiss, and with the fact that those investments will earn us over more than $37 million additional funds over similar investment in U.S. Treasuries over the next 3 years. I did want to point out, go back, I think the administrator nailed it earlier when he said individuals don't come work for government for the money. There's so much more why they're here, part of which is service, and I know that that's key. That being said, I wanted to make sure we got apples and oranges going the same. Last year in 2025, September 30, 2025, we were only able to do in the clerk's office a 3% COLA, as opposed to the 6% the county got. In addition to that, and we couldn't do 6% because we just couldn't afford it. And so, and our individuals start at $16 an hour, and it takes 2 years to get to $18 an hour in the clerk's office. And so I don't know if apples and oranges are they're not the same here. So there is a difference. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you, Clerk. Vice Mayor Woodward.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Are we having fun yet? So.
Great year for my first budget, Vice Mayor.
Thank you. And I had already written it down, and then you actually said it. This is the administrator's budget. So I wanted to first thank you for what you've brought to us. And even though we didn't ask to go below the 4.5, you going there, that was your choice. And I, for one, thank you for that, trying to get us there. You know, I've heard it said a lot, you know, we're not going to rubber stamp, we're not going to status quo, we're not any of this. So you're shaking things up, and the state honestly is shaking things up, whether we like it or not. We're having to have these conversations. It's a good exercise. It's one we should be doing, and we're certainly not alone in doing this. It's happening all across the state, all across the county. So with that being said, what you're asking from us, I believe, as you know, from some board direction, I think you've probably heard a lot of it. Is there anything in particular that we haven't covered? I think we're talking about bringing back the MSTU discussion, what that fully entails, because it's a big discussion that we would have to have, and I'm sure the sheriff's going to want to weigh in on that as well. And then also, how you can get to the other amounts. For one, I'm okay with the paid beach parking. All the cities that have county parks in South County make us charge already. So I think, and Commissioner Marino, I think all of the parks up there are free. So it's a cost. It's something that's going to help us get there, because what we're looking at now is setting the millage. The millage is the ad valorem piece of the overall budget. So if we have departments, I mean, this is not something we're baking in right now, but if we have departments that find additional creative solutions for us to still be able to fund the budget, but remove those dollars from ad valorem, that helps you balance the budget overall, because then we're not having to get it from property taxes. There's ways we can get here, and you know, things are being shaken. Whatever happens in November, I mean, I still think that this is a good exercise for everyone to be going through, because it's going to give us, you know, we're having to kind of broaden how we look at this and how we pay for things. So with that being said, one other thing before I ask the question, though, for if there's anything you haven't heard from us, because in the property tax bill, it does talk about core services. So I think it would be helpful in the next meeting for us to discuss what's core services based with our strategic priorities. Because I have a feeling some of what we have decided is a strategic priority, if this were to pass in November, those would not be eligible for property tax usage. So as a future discussion item, I think it would be helpful for us to know that, and for the public to be made aware too. And again, for those departments, it doesn't mean necessarily that they have to go away. We just have to find a different way to pay for them that's not property taxes. So either way, if this passes, there's certain things we're using property taxes for that will no longer be eligible. So with that, is there anything that you were looking for direction for that you didn't hear from this board?
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Thank you. Starting with the MSTU, just to be clear, it'd be good to know if we are getting direction from the board to get things ready to propose an MSTU for the sheriff. I don't want to take a guess at that.
I think the information that Commissioner Flores, he had asked for that to be brought to us, so that was the direction.
Okay, it's direction. On the 4.5, if it is the prerogative of the board to come back with staying flat at 4.5, but to be clear, we would still be reducing the BCC departments and just reducing, or the increase from going from, what is it?
We're out about 43 million, and now we'd be out 20 million.
If that is just working with the sheriff, as Commissioner Marino suggested, that we wouldn't be keeping departments the same. We'd still be taking that cut and then using that extra money, if you will, to negotiate with the sheriff, that we would just be reducing the sheriff's budget.
I'm going to speak because I haven't said too much so far. I like the 4.43, the max that you're proposing, and we do have to get to 5, right, to go any higher than that?
Correct.
I think, and that's still an increase. That's still not rollback. So again, the 4.5 is a no-starter for me. People are already suffering, and this will be potentially the last year that we are able to give our residents a good break because we don't know what the future potentially holds. So I am in favor of what you're proposing. If our administrator is telling us this is the fiscal responsible way to do this and that we can still manage our county with a 4.4 rate, I'm in favor of that. So that's about, so I will leave that to you. But again, this isn't like the max millage rate meeting. We do have that in June, end of June.
July.
July.
Yep, at our July meeting, I will bring back agenda item and we will set that not to exceed rate.
So that would be the meeting appropriate for that.
Well, I'm going to bring you a balanced budget in July also, so I needed some direction today to get us to that balanced budget. And so that was the point for today and things, but we would set it at 4.5 no matter what, because you can always lower it in September. You cannot go over what we set at the July meeting, so.
And I think everything else, was there any more direction that you had questions on?
The beach parking would be helpful.
I don't have any beach in my district, so if the commissioners that have beach, Commissioner Marino is in favor of charging fees for beaches. I personally am not a huge fan. I like to go to the beach and not pay, but we're in a situation now where we have to potentially make up revenues. And if she wants it, and it's her area that's mostly free parking, I'll support that, her district. Commissioner Flores wanted to say something.
So I personally don't like charging for the beaches, and I don't have beach either. But I guarantee you, all my people do go to the beach. So it doesn't matter whether you have a beach or not. Our people go to the beach. If the board feels that they want to start charging, so be it. But we have to, as we move forward, and we're sort of setting a precedent that we, the county, is always going to take a cut and nobody else is going to do the same. If this board is going to cut our own departments, because every year they're going to continue to ask for a raise, what are we, where's the money going to come from? So it can't simply be this board cutting our own departments that do very important work in the community, and all of the constitutional officers continue to ask for an increase year after year. So I still am a firm believer that if we are going to take a cut, so do the constitutional officers. So I don't know how this board feels, but I mean, if we're saying that we're going to give the sheriff 94, and I don't know how much every office is asking for, but we are the ones sacrificing, it should be a sacrifice across the board. So I think that we should go back and ask them all to sharpen their pencils, because if we're the ones brunting this, we have a lot of employees too that are working under that minimum livable wage. And that's why I fight for this housing initiatives. And by the way, we talked about this earlier, and I said, oh, there's zero. But in all reality, we are only, with all the money that we have proposed to spend, we've only put about 4,000 units, or we're about to build 4,000 units. We haven't made a dent. We were told that we have a deficit of 20,000 units, and we're like around 4,000. So as time goes on, that's only gonna get worse. So I think that's what I wanna ask our administrator, is that you go back and you work with constitutional officers and see what they can do to help with this deficit that we're staring at. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sachs, you're recognized.
I think Commissioner Flores said it all. They need to get in on this. this is part of the information that we need as well to really examine and see where we're going to cut. And I pay high parking rates in Boca Raton, Delray Beach. Yeah, but that's city and not county. Could you let us know where these free parking spaces are? And I go up and down A1A, I can't find a free parking space. So whatever, and I don't even know how much this would bring because we only have very few areas on A1A that has county land. So there's other ways that we can bring in revenue, and I look forward to this additional information. Thanks for all you're doing.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I wasn't going to say anything with regard to the parking issue. However, there's somebody at home right now watching, and they're thinking, Powell, say something. So I'm going to say something. The issue is, like, especially when it comes to parking at parks or beaches, some people have to really gear themselves up to even get in the car to drive, because gas is over $4 a gallon. And then they go to places that they used to be able to frequent, just maybe even for mental health reasons. Sometimes people go walk on the beach. And now they've got to pay to park at a beach. Now, I do have some beaches in my district, some very beautiful beaches. Many people will say the most beautiful beaches in the state of Florida in my district. Many people will say that, they will. But those beaches, at least I know one of them, is charging for parking now. And to make it even worse, they don't even have an attendant there. They're charging for parking by camera. The challenge is, how do we alleviate some of the stress that people are facing? Now, if we're going to charge people for parking, I get it, right? But there's got to be some alternatives. Maybe there's some free parking a mile away that they can walk to and not have to worry about their car getting towed. But we got to keep some things in perspective for the people in Palm Beach County. I heard somebody say earlier, one of my colleagues, one of my commissioners, and I'm not just saying somebody because I forget which one of y'all said it, but somebody was talking about the middle class. I'll be truthful. There's a lot of people who I talk to in my district, they would be happy to be a part of the middle class. Yeah, they're reaching. They're not a part of the middle class, they're poor. People are not just struggling, they are hurting. When I say they are hurting, people are hurting. When they're paying over 60 and 70% of their income to live, people who work in this building, in this county building, work here 8 hours, get off work, and then go to another job, and they have to smile at the next job when they are greeting people. It's a challenge. Commissioner Flores, you talked about people working 2 and 3 jobs. That's a reality. Many of our people, not just working for the county, but working in a lot of jobs, they're working 2 jobs. And when you're working 2 jobs or 3 jobs, and you have a spouse at home, and you've got to make time for children, it becomes very, very difficult. So people are hurting. I'm not saying we shouldn't charge for parking, but I do believe that we've got to figure some things out, especially for county employees. That's why I asked about the cost of living, so that people are allowed to buy some of their life back, right? It would be nice to get off work at 5:30, or 6 o'clock, or 4:30, and be able to go home and say, I'm home. But that's not the reality a lot of people are facing. A lot of people get off work at 5 o'clock, they go home, change into another uniform to go to work until 11 o'clock at night, and then turn around and do it over again. And these are people who should be enjoying life. That's very stressful. They're not just struggling, they are hurting. So I had to say something. Let's just keep that in mind. We are privileged to be where we are, and we got to recognize that. But I feel the pain of a lot of people, not just people in my district who I know. I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about family members. And, who knows? we're here today, but it could be us tomorrow. So let's just keep those things in mind, because it's really, really a challenge when we start charging for parking. And I'm concerned that eventually we talk about closing libraries, but soon we'll be charging people to park at the library, and then they'll go in and we'll be renting them books. You know, everything's on the table. So I'm very, very concerned. I did want to bring those points up. With that, I close.
Administrator, is there a way to move forward without charging for parking?
We would need to know that, but it would be a $10 million hit, so, Sherry?
Yeah, I mean, we would look to,
$9 million.
yeah, we would have to cut someplace else.
Okay. Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Or raise the millage.
Well, I'm assuming we're going to go at 4.5,
Or
and
even-
we could go above 4.5.
Thank you. And I think it's just, that it's been a great discussion with everyone, and everything that's been said is very true and accurate. And also, we are spending their money. That all of this is about spending all of the taxpayers' money. So that's what makes this such a difficult conversation for all of us, because we are providing a service with that money. Not everybody agrees on what their money should be spent on. So that's why having this discussion is great, and we should disagree, because the residents of this county disagree with each other. And, you know, this is good. I did want to ask one question. What are we legally allowed to require of our fellow constitutional officers when it comes to their budgets? Do we have any? Because I've gotten conflicting information on that when it comes to other constitutional officers.
So there's different statutory schemes for each officer, so it's dependent on that officer. For example, with the sheriff, there's an appeals process that's in place where the board can, at the budget hearing, adjust the budget, but then the sheriff would have the right to appeal to the governor. There's no such appellate process in other constitutional officers, but they all differ. Each statutory scheme is different, and we can, we can work with Sherry.
I think that would be helpful information for all of us to have, so we actually know what this board's legally allowed to do.
Right, I was going to say, and if there was an MSTU, then that sets it for the law enforcement piece, and there is no appealing from that standpoint.
But then the other constitutional officers would all still be under
the general fund. And
okay. It's just, I mean, because I've been told conflicting reports on what we are legally allowed to do or not do when it comes to other elected officials' budgets. So if you could get us that information, I'd appreciate it.
Commissioner Marino, you're recognized.
So for the beach parking, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, this is a $10 million plus or minus. Sherry, I don't know how you have figured out how we're going to generate that revenue, whether it's going to be machines or a person standing there. I'm sure there's something we can give back to the residents, like the first hour free, or buy a parking pass for the summer or something like that. But it would depend on how we're actually collecting the fees. So if there are plans in place that would give a benefit of some kind to our residents, but I do agree that we should be charging, only because it is being taken advantage of by people that aren't residents. So and they're displacing our residents from using the parks. And you all don't get these calls. I get them every day in the summer. I can't get to the beach in Jupiter, and I'm a resident. That kind of thing. So this is figure out a way that we can give some sort of a benefit to our residents, but still charge.
And I believe it would just be machines.
Looking back for Jennifer. Oh, yeah.
That you wouldn't need an attendant for it. Something like Carlin Park, since I'm a District 1 resident, and that's the area I would go to the beach, there is street parking that would not have parking meters on, since it's not our road.
Excuse me, Sherry. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. So the approach we took for this was really to get board direction. So it's a very conservative approach. It would be a mobile app device. This would not be to offset the cost of attendance at the parks, more than we have already staffing there. Again, we can, take your direction back today and look at the options for passes and things that maybe would be, a revenue offset for some of our residents that could be a little easier, and that maybe we raise the rate on our out-of-town visitors, perhaps, that still want to visit our beaches. But again, just taking your direction today, we took a very conservative approach, $4 an hour, not a lot of overhead to collect it. Really, that was our kind of premise to start the conversation, to talk to you all and get your direction.
Jennifer, the mobile parking apps, is it possible, are we using Park Mobile?
We're using Park Mobile currently at the 2 parks where we do charge, yes.
And does their software allow if we wanted to give residents an hour or two of free parking?
We believe so. It's a software programming issue, and we would work with the vendor to try to accomplish that.
I think that the board would really appreciate that for our residents that live here, and I believe that the Park Mobile app would confirm address and that they're local.
We'll take that back and work on it before the next meeting. I think the only, kind of loophole in that possible system, if someone's renting a car and the license plate happens to be local type of situation, but we'll work through that with the software vendor.
But I think their address would then be a hotel.
Yeah, it's just whether or not it's just license plate or not, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may, please.
Yes.
Thank you. I want to just shoot directly straight. That's how I operate. And here's what it boils down to, without beating around the bush. If we move up to 4.5, or if we keep at 4.5 mils, there's $20 million from where we're at. If we do not do beach parking, that would be $30 million from the budget to balance it. So it's either then at that point that you direct me to cut $30 more million from your departments, or the sheriff is going to have to go from 94 million to 74 million. Or 64, I apologize, 64, 94, I forgot about the beach parking. If we keep out beach parking, he will have to go from 94 million to 64 million. If we put in beach parking, he will then go to 70. I would have to negotiate for 74 million. There's really not a lot of wiggle room based on that. It's either we cut further, or I have to hold the sheriff to those numbers
Could
to
you
balance
pull
the budget.
slide 30? The bottom line, that's what's being proposed, the 94 million?
That is his current ask.
And then a 3% increase in his budget is 61 million, and a,
Right, so he would be held to essentially a 3% increase.
okay. I was just curious about the numbers. But you are bringing back, because you now have direction, and I think we can explore those conversations more.
And Madam Mayor, just for clarification, the MSTU discussion would not affect this year's budget cycle. So that's moving forward, not now. So the numbers put forth is what we have to get under wraps to finalize.
At 4.5, how much would we have to cut?
4.5, we would need to cut 20 million, and if we don't want to do the beach parking, it's 30 million.
But what if we allowed just the hour or two for residents? Is it still a 10 million?
We budgeted right now almost 9 million, so I think it'd be a little bit less, but,
7.5 maybe.
yeah.
I think
It's hard to
that's-
know, to know the exact number here, but, it'd be a little bit less, so.
Or I must say,
Commissioner Flores, you're recognized.
So regarding the 4.5 or the 4.43, some change, my main concern is next year, if that 250 hits. Because then if we have a massive shortfall and we are now picking up the pieces having to go up it's going to be the hard part, right? Because then you're going to need 110, you said 110% to go up above rollback
Correct.
to try to figure out our budget the following year. So to me, that's a concern. That's why I would like to keep it at 4.5
Right.
for this year and then figure out where we go next year. Because I think things are going to be chaotic.
Commissioner, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If I may, if this passes, let me be clear, and this is for primarily the commercial business industry to listen to and renters to listen to.
Renters, yeah.
It's the administrator's budget. I will be proposing an increase of the millage on commercial property and non-homesteaded properties, hence our renters. There will be no other way. No other way. And we looked at every scenario that we can balance this budget under if that constitutional amendment passes without raising taxes on the business community, on renters, and non-homesteaded property.
Yeah, so the next year, we're going to be facing an increase, and then we're going to have to explain ourselves for that. So that's something I want to move on from. We'll decide at a later time. But regarding that fee for the parking at the beaches, one of the reasons that people decide to travel to Palm Beach County is because of our beaches.
Right.
Would this impact travel to Palm Beach County because we are imposing a parking fee? I mean, is this something that the TDC may want to look at?
We could look at that from TDC. And cities already are charging it at their places, and we already have 2 parks in cities that we're charging, and I'm going to assume that the parking lots are full. From someone who travels other places, parking fees doesn't usually stop me from going to where I want to go, but, you know.
Right. But I think it's something that we should at least look into.
Right.
All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Sacks, you're recognized.
Thank you. This thing about beach parking, I represented the whole beaches area from Broward all the way up. We have very little property that belongs to the county on the East Coast, on our east side. There's very little. Maybe you could educate all of us as to A1A from the Broward line all the way up to the end of the county. There's not, most of the beaches that are county owned, the land next to the beach, county owned, is probably in District 1. It's certainly not in South County. So, or in Central County. I mean, really, those are cities. So if we're looking at it, let's look at it. We're stuck on this thing about beach parking. It's amazing. And the cities charge a lot for beach parking. But you know what? If you plan it right, you're able to get into the beach, or there's other places to park in these cities in South County where it's a less of a charge than if you park right on A1A. But you find me a state in this country that you can park free, maybe Hawaii, I don't know. But Florida, it's not that much. And if you can't afford to park at the beach, go 2-3 blocks in. That's what I used to do when I didn't have the money. You can find parking at a place that's 50 cents an hour instead of $4 an hour. So, but let's focus on the money that we're sending out that's not essential. That's what I want to look at, and I look forward to reviewing that. This is a challenge. We'll meet this challenge, and you're absolutely correct, Administrator. They passed this into law. We have to raise taxes on commercial properties and leases and rents, and let's see what happens then. And let's make sure, and I know that Mr. Adi's going to give us our talking points so that we don't get in trouble. People have to know. The chambers have to know, the AIF has to know that this passes, they're going to bear the burden of having to support government. Thank you for all your work.
Clerk Caruso.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to offer a couple ideas from alternative revenue sources. One, going back to our investments portfolio and Israel bonds, if we were to increase our maximum percentage that we're allowed to invest from 15%, which currently our policy, to 20%, that would earn us an additional $3 million a year in interest income. And in addition to that, I believe your budget assumes an average interest rate or return on investment of our portfolio of 2.7%. I'm sorry? No, oh, yes. We
So,
offered 3.5%.
Clerk Caruso, would you mind having these conversations with the administrator after our meeting? I think we would love to know about alternate revenue sources.
Okay.
But that's kind of not what we're trying to decide today, where we're going to get those from. And I would love to have our administrator present those to us.
Be happy to work with you.
Please. Thank you so much. Commissioner Powell.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And you had brought up the budget here, and you looked at the sheriff's budget. If he were to go to 3% on an increase, what happens, and I know it's not up there, maybe we look at that differently. What does 4% look like? What do different ideas look like combined with the idea of potentially, when we talk about parking for residents, if there's what does it look like, if you do extrapolate out the first hour in terms of parking, what do you lose in closing up that gap? Just some alternatives that we need to look at, combining, looking at the sheriff's budget and then looking at what we do with parking in terms of making adjustments. Is that possible?
Madam Mayor?
You may.
Thank you. Commissioner, just for a rule of thumb, if we move up from, what are we at, 4.4393, 4.4393, we will, and we stay at 4.5, we're out of balance right now with my proposed budget with the tax reduction, 43 million. If we move up and we keep our millage rate the same, we pick up an additional 22 million. So we're out of balance still 20 million. That's with the beach parking. If we reduce the beach parking, we're out of balance 30 million. So keeping it the same, our same millage rate, based on beach parking, which is why we're at the very end, we're trying to balance this large budget. We're down to low millions. It's either we have 20 million if it's the consensus of the board to stay at 4.5, or 30 million. There's only realistically two pots that we can make a large dent in. That's either directing me to continue to eliminate positions and services from your departments, or negotiate with the sheriff to reduce either 20 or 30 million of his current budget.
Commissioner Powell, may I? Administrator, so what we're looking at, if we kept in there charging for beach parking and allowing the 1 or 2 hours of free for residents, okay? Let's assume that's kept in there. We are still looking at 20 million that are either going to come from, we need further cuts from BCC departments after you've already cut 35 million.
And change.
Right, so that'll be down to 55. Or the sheriff gets 74 million instead of 94 million.
Correct.
And I think you're looking for direction from this board on what our preference was. I am going to start from left to right and ask everyone to give a preference so we can give our administrator a clear direction on what to do.
And Mayor, can I just correct something I had said earlier with the slide that's up there? If we eliminated 42 million to balance the budget today, was what this was supposed to be, it's still a 4.77% increase. So if we only need 20 million from him, it's still going to be more than a 5% increase. I think I was looking at it backwards when you asked about it before. So it's still going to be a $20 million or 30 is 6.8% increase with a $20 million reduction in his ask.
So what I'm asking there are two options here. We're either going to give from a 35 million cut to a 55 million cut to make up that 20 million, or the sheriff goes from getting an additional 94 million to 74 million. Commissioner Sachs?
I don't have the data, so I'm sorry. I need to see how much money we're expending in other areas. If we put the sheriff and reduce, what is that going to mean for the security of the people? This beach parking, I mean, if this is ridiculous on the amount of that. I think there's a lot of other ways we can cut. I think we have revenue coming in from other streams, but today is, to me, this is not enough information for me to give that. But what you have already stated is fine in terms of giving us the information and then going along with these, probably the millage.
Right.
the way it
I
is.
don't think we're going to have, there's not been any other discussion of other new revenue streams at this point, and so this was really our best look at it.
Well, part of this is that we give money every year to agencies and to nonprofits. I don't know how much it is. Maybe it's not that much, but maybe it is. But it wasn't part of this discussion today.
Is it 20,
Today was a
30 million?
$250,000 grant to a 1909, which is a good organization. But there's others that get it annually, every year, every year, every year. I don't know how much we give out. So it's like saying, I don't know how much we have in our pocket to take care of these issues here unless I know how much we started with.
Thank you,
So
Commissioner.
it's over $20 million, and
Yeah.
we've had some workshops in the last, I think, year about, with the not-for-profits that came in for those types of things, so.
$20 million. When I get that information, I'll be more than happy to be more specific.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Sacks. Commissioner Weiss, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, yeah, I support the keeping the millage rate where it is. And then just back to the beach parking, I know it's getting a little long, but I think we should look at rates for non-residents versus residents, and maybe give the non-residents, they can pay a little more, and that way we can give a break to the residents, and so maybe the first hour, like we've done in other places where you get first hour free, second hour, so you get to go for 2 hours, you pay
And
for
if I
one.
may, a yearly parking pass.
Yeah, or a yearly parking pass would work too. Also, make it available in the evenings too. When people get off work, they should be able to go and walk on the beach and clear their heads and chill out on the beach and not have to pay for that.
Commissioner Flores.
So I don't think we have to make all these decisions today. I want to start there. I agree with Commissioner Sacks. This is a workshop, so I think we should continue to work with the administration to see where some of these reductions come out of. I also heard from Sherry today that usually when the property value comes in, it comes in $7 to $8 million, a little higher. So maybe that was what pays for parking for this upcoming year. In regards to the reductions and the nonprofits that we have cut, you can look at that, I think, in page 27. Is that correct? We have ERM, we cut HED, we cut parks, we cut public affairs, public safety, youth services, community services, county co-op, to the tune of $13.1 million. Is that correct, Sherry, what we're proposing?
That's the reduction, yeah, above
so-
the 22
So right now,
point something.
we're
up to 35.3.
We've already cut 13 million, Commissioner Sacks. So I've said this, and I'll say it one more time. We should look at all departments across all county that we fund, meaning constitutional officers. They got to look at, see where they can find a little cut here and there. And I think MSCU has to be, I'm sorry. I mean, if we're cutting, we all have to look at cutting. So it can't just be our people taking the cuts. And the MSCU, I think, has to be, I think we need to at least have a good discussion about that further. So thank you.
Vice Mayor Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Okay, to start, yes to beach parking. Sorry, it's publicly accessible. That's the most important thing. And for the city parks, the $4 an hour is still going to be, at least in South County, considerably cheaper than going to a city park, and they still have access. So I'm good with beach parking. Just no, we don't have to complicate that. Talk to the sheriff and whoever else you can. We need help here. And that I wrote down school crossing guards just because I feel like that's something, we're paying for that right now, but why? And it also made me think of, we've had conversations in the past about some things that we are paying for that other taxing districts probably should be paying for, and somehow over the years, the county was the one that had the funds, and we picked up some departments, some services that we have been paying for. So that's something for you to look at. And I know it may not be able to happen in this budget, but it is something that we should push hard for when it comes to the school district or any of the other taxing districts. If we need them to, sorry, but if this needs to be done, you need to pay for it. So those are my ones. For the two, hope you can get there. Appreciate all of your work.
Attorney Oddie, you're recognized.
Just wanted to clarify, Vice Mayor, that the school police has no jurisdiction at the end of their property line where the right-of-ways. The sheriff is responsible for that.
No, I just meant that the school district should be funding it, in my opinion. If we're not required to pay for the contract with the sheriff for school crossing guards, why?
Oh, you mean somebody else other than us?
The school
Okay.
district, yeah, could enter into the contract with the sheriff to pay for that.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify because earlier you had asked whether or not the school police could, but they can't.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Powell, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The question that you asked earlier, can you please repeat it?
Well, staff is having a hard time balancing our budget. And even with beach parking and even giving residents an hour or two free, let's say, local residents, we're having a $20 million discrepancy here if we go to a 4.5 millage rate, okay? That's increasing what's proposed today. So we are left with a $20 million question of where would this board like to give staff direction? And nobody from this board has really given, there was a question posed, but I guess they're saying find another way to cut, and nobody is really saying their preference, so.
Thank you for that. The reason I asked you that is because I was a bit confused. And this is what happens in the world of politics. A question is asked, and sometimes the answer that is given is not in response to the question that was asked. So I did hear somebody, one of my colleagues, Commissioner Flores, talk about an MSTU, bring up that conversation. And I did hear Commissioner Flores say that other things, other constitutional offices should also be on the table. Here's the deal. You know what the art of a good negotiation is? John Hope Bryant says this. John Hope Bryant says that the art of a good negotiation is that everybody walks away with a little bit of pain, and not everybody walks away happy. We have given the administrator the ability to work on the budget, and you've done a good job. And so the question was, do we send the administrator to negotiate with the sheriff? My response is, as the administrator, yes, go back and negotiate with the sheriff. If you're not able to come back with a compromise, so be it. But I think that you should have the opportunity to go back and negotiate with the sheriff and see where compromise can be made and see where it's called negotiate. I'm sitting here, and I spend a lot of time in legislative office. Anybody know who Bone Crusher is? Figure it out. You know Bone Crusher. Bone Crusher has a saying, and we have to be authentic in what we're doing, and we have to go. And I'm going to send Joe. I'm going to send the administrator. Go and see. Go negotiate. Everything's on the table. Because the challenge I have is, this is real life. There's people who work in this building who I've seen work all day, Then I've gone to an event and I've seen them working at night. That's crazy. That's crazy. Some other stuff has got to be on the table. And we get elected to make decisions, and we got to make decisions that are sometimes hard, and not everybody's going to be happy. When I make decisions at home, there's 2 other people that live in the house that are sometimes not happy. We got to go after it. So please go and negotiate. Look at what you can look at. Yes, the parking issue is out there. The truth is, I brought up the parking issue because it's a challenge for people in the district. I can pay whatever you want me to pay for parking, or I'll leave my car at home. It don't matter to me. If I want to go to the beach, I'll pay for it. If not, I won't. But we've got to figure it out. There's been some cuts at our level. You've done cuts. So we got to figure it out. It's just that simple. There's no hemming and hawing. And I said what I said. So with that, remember, a life of service is a life that counts. I'll leave you at that.
Commissioner Moreno, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. Please negotiate with the sheriff. There's a history of negotiating with the sheriff at this point in time every single year. Sherry, how long have we been doing this? Years. Yeah. You know, if you don't ask, you don't get. Here in this situation, the sheriff is asking for 90 some odd $1 million. We can't give him that because we, the Board of County Commissioners, have slashed our budget, which is what the state wanted us to do. The other, sorry, Caruso, but yeah, you got to cut too. It's not just our responsibility to be fiscally conservative. I think the other constitutional officers need to do that, and that the number 1 constitutional officer on this list is a sheriff. So please negotiate with the sheriff. I'm good with the beach parking, whatever we figure out. As to the different millage rates, the only person who it affects is the sheriff. Whether we go to 4.4, whatever it was, or we stay at 4.5, the only person that seemed to be affecting is the sheriff. So if we set a not to exceed of 4.5 and we're able to work lower than that, yay, we've accomplished what we've asked Joe to do, which was to bring us save us some money this year. I think I said it an hour ago. Please just negotiate with the sheriff. Figure out what we can do we can't deliver a budget if it's not balanced. So yes, negotiate with the sheriff. Thank you.
Madam Mayor.
So I'm going to go. And I'm going to summarize, because I think we've collectively agreed that we don't want residents to have to pay too much to park, but we have agreed on beach parking. So there's your compromise. We have agreed that the max millage rate would be 4.5. We do understand we'll be setting that in July, but we would like it to come back lower. And that we do want you to negotiate with all of our constitutional officers. Sound about right? Okay, and I have no lights. Administrator, would you like to say something, or?
Yes, thank you. Well, I'll let Sherry go.
I'm sorry. Thank you all for your time, and you know how much I love a big presentation, and you sat through it, and the people behind me, I can hear, throwing daggers at me, but I really wanted to thank our new county administrator, because a couple of times I said, "Are you sorry you're here with me right now?" And he said, "No, I'm not." And I said, "I don't think I want to do this amendment and this budget with anyone other than Joe." So I appreciate that, and thank you for all your help in taking my phone calls at any time.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'll start working with Sherry and really your entire team for my first budget has been tremendous. I have not started negotiating with the sheriff. We just put in what the constitutionals proposed. One of my favorite parts of my job is negotiating, so I look forward to getting in there and trying to deliver a budget home in a more peaceful manner, I'll put it that way. That's the goal. So thank you. You're incredible to work for, and I appreciate your guidance, your input, where your heads and hearts are at, and we'll try to bring it home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you. Marino has asked me to speak to the North County